Hello, Philadelphia! I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gargano Show!
Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to the Anthony Gargano Show, presented by Bet Parks. My name is Bill Matz. I'm a director of fun and games for this morning. Joining me today, it's another person I've really never got to work with, at least in this capacity. It's my pal, Jamie Lynch. What's going on, Jamie?
Good morning, Bill. Yeah, I used to, always listen to you on my way into a previous life, and we never really actually got to sit down and hack it up much.
It always seemed like
we were always ships passing in the
just
night.
Crossing.
Yeah, I left WIP, went to another place, and then you were blowing up there, and now here we are together.
Now, here we are, hosting Anthony's show together.
Yeah, how about
Good
that?
morning. Jamie, something drives me nuts, and I had to text you like, "Yo, are you here yet?" Because I'm like locked out of the building. So to get into this building, we have like a digital key out front downstairs, and I got a new phone yesterday.
Which was a topic of our company Slack channel recently after the draft show, because somebody out in Denver, Dwayne, was like, did Bill and I just become best friends? Was that an Ecto Cooler phone case?
I can't find the Ecto Cooler case for the new phone, and that's driving me nuts. But I was signed out of the digital key thing this morning, and I just want to know what problem this solved. Like, when did keys be? If you don't, oh man, yeah, I don't know. You have no service. You can't get into your building. Your battery's low. Oh, your phone died. You're signed out, and there's no chance I remember my password.
Do you think
for
you could
something I set up 18 months ago?
If your Waze or Google Maps wasn't working, do you think you could still read a map and figure out how to get places?
I would have to. No, I can barely follow the GPS as is.
The days of MapQuest when you had to print them off.
Dude, I'm old enough where I did that.
Oh yeah,
that was a grind.
Pull out your atlas and your compass. And,
Oh yeah.
My first time
asking for directions at gas stations, that was a thing.
Oh, coming home when the first time I went to Temple like by myself to take some sort of testing, and then came home, getting off the Ben Franklin, like I always have to go right. I went left, and I was like, I have to get a hotel room and sleep here. I am never going to find it took me 3 hours to get home from North Philly. I was like, I'm stopping at like a Radisson, and I'll figure it out in the morning. My mother, I'm just like on the phone with my mother. She's like,
I'm somewhere in the city.
We're sending you to college. we just cannot be. You can't be this dumb, possibly. Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted like a digital key. Why is that better than a regular key? There's never a problem with a regular key. You unlock it, and then that's that.
Yeah.
With this, there's so many variables.
So VG brought this up last week regarding that. He was like, why don't we have those for our home? And I think it's because exactly what you're bringing up. Like,
my buddy has one, and it's a constant. Hold on, just wait a second. I'm like, what if you had like?
Yeah, what an emergency.
If this was a bathroom emergency, are you just hiding in an alley?
Yeah.
Like, what do you do?
Yeah, I've had a couple photo finishes at the front door before where I didn't think I was going to make it. And
why is this better than a regular key?
I don't think my neighbors want to see me deucing in the bushes to start their day.
Your phone dies. You're like,
yeah, your phone died
in my house.
My phone died. I'm homeless. Like, that's it. You are now a trespasser in your own home.
Yeah,
you have no access.
Yeah,
it's just this. Little stuff like this. I just want to know what problem this solves.
We're very digitally dependent, and I still like silently protest a lot of it. Like, I don't do mobile banking. I don't do a lot of stuff like digitally. I'm still kind of old school. I'll still go to the post office and mail stuff from time to time. Like, I straddle the line of like the new digital world and like the old school boomer world. And I like to keep a toe in each pool a little bit.
I think you do have to, for when everything does fall apart within the next 7-8 months, like you are going to need to be able to, figure out where the water source is and go there.
Yeah.
So that's probably pretty smart. But no, I'm totally dependent on it all. And it makes me so mad because I see the problems coming. I'm like, yes, today I am locked out because I don't know my password to whatever the digital pass is to get into work. I have to be there in an hour.
I don't think I could tell you my password either for it if I got logged out.
Set it up 18 months ago. I have no idea. It could be anything. Like, I don't know, just running through all my pets' names.
And the forgot password whole rigmarole circus act drives me insane. With the TV, it's just like too much. I've been logged out of HBO now for like 2 months, and I think I just gave up.
That's I'm like, if Ava's not home, I'm just gonna read a book, I guess. Like, hey, Ave, you have all the. Can you just?
I don't know.
I am at work, and your problem is you're trying to watch The Sopranos. Like, yes, yes,
It's a big deal in my life today.
This is what I planned on doing when I got home.
Yeah.
And I need your attention right now. All right, we have all sorts
everything.
of. This is what happens when the Phillies play on the West Coast. And it's like, you got to get up early. You also need to know what happened in the game. And they are horrible, or at least the offensive end of that, and really everything but the starting pitching is a disaster.
Yeah.
So this is the kind of mood we're in to start today's show. So they lose in San Fran 3-1 last night in the most predictable outcome ever. Sanchez, awesome. But it doesn't matter. The Phillies scored 1 run. It was on a wild pitch. They are 0 for their last 24 with runners in scoring position. I am at the point of saying this is just it's not a mediocre lineup. This is a bad lineup. They cannot hit. They have 2 really good players in Schwarber and Harper. Harper's having a down year. Schwarber didn't have his typical June. And here we are, one of the most lifeless offenses I have ever seen.
Yeah, our Discord channel this morning was talking a lot of Phillies frustrations. And I saw a stat that Castellanos, I think, has left the 4th most amount of runners in scoring position in baseball. He's your, supposed big money outfield option. He's having a disappointing year. Marsh has gotten better as of late, but like, he is what he is at this point. I can't.
He got turned around on a fly ball last night. Like, I don't know.
Rojas, I'm not a Rojas guy. Bohm, he's a fully baked pie at this point, to quote Anthony. Like, he is what he is, which is fine.
He's actually turned into, it's crazy that we are now at the point with Bohm. He's the best glove on the left side of our infield. Pretty nice fielder. And yeah, he drives in a decent amount of, drives in some runs. He's okay with runners in scoring position, although no one is right now. But I don't know, man. Outside of 1.5 guys, because Harper right now.
Turner's been awesome this year. I'll give Turner
There's
his,
just
his
nobody
flowers.
who can drive the ball outside of Schwarber.
JT's fallen off a cliff offensively. Stott never took the steps you thought he was going to take. Bryce Harper should have had off-season wrist surgery. He didn't. Now, the way
he's slugging under 500.
Yeah, the way my brain works is is he going to get surgery this offseason?
Is this just going to be who he is?
Is this going to be a lower back and a wrist problem for the rest of his career? It's troubling. But like you said, luckily they have great starting pitching, which gives you a puncher's chance.
It gives you a chance every night, and it's just how bad can this offense be? And last night, a perfect example. I think they're 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position, and just they hit the ball on the ground so much, it's as if we are in a different era.
So bring Justin Crawford up. If that's the problem, if you need a jolt here, the big knock is, Justin Crawford just hits the ball on the ground.
So does everybody.
Yeah, so does the entire big league club. So bring him up.
This is a problem 1 to 9. Like, runners in scoring position, terrible. Also, if there's a man on first, it's, am I actually hoping for a strikeout here just so it's not 2 outs instead of that's really what it comes down to. Like, I'm begging them to run every time there's a man on first.
Yeah.
Because this team is basically incapable of driving the ball. It is unbelievable how good this starting rotation is.
Yeah.
And how bad every other aspect of the team is. It doesn't end up killing them last night, but you have the potential for a double play ball. And for some reason, Turner just boots it. And it luckily ends up in the glove of Bryce and Stott, so they at least get the lead runner.
Yeah.
They have 2 fly balls that just get, lost.
Dropped in the same inning.
It's windy. They were also in the air for 1.5 minutes that they just can't track.
And Devers doesn't run it out. And you get saved there because then he doesn't score on the ground rule double. He should have been on second. So, you dodged a bullet there.
Kirkering immediately comes in, hits a guy, gets squeezed, but don't hit the leadoff guy, and maybe the ump won't think you're wild.
Yeah.
And gives up the runs that eventually beat them. It's almost a shame, what they are doing to these starting pitchers right now. Wheeler the other night, of course, he gets the complete game, so okay, we can't. No one else can screw it up for him. He goes 9, and they just get by. And last night we get another great start from Sanchez, and that goes completely to waste. It's like it's as if it never happened.
It's like watching Cole Hamels career all unfold right in front of our eyes every single night.
At least they spread it around now. It's not because there was always just the one guy.
Yeah,
it was Hamels a few years. It was always just one guy.
Nola when he was really good
would
never get the run support.
They just don't score for him. Weird.
Yeah.
And now it's just they are incapable of scoring.
Yeah, I mean, an upgrade is needed for this offense. I don't know what it is. I don't have the name per se. Some of the guys that are out there being mentioned are, similar-ish problem players to what they have. Some are big names that have kind of dropped off, like a Luis Robert or an Adalis Garcia, but they need something. Like, they can't just do nothing.
All right, that brings us to the big deal by Cherry Hill, presented by Cherry Hill Mitsubishi. Cherry Hill Mitsubishi. I can say it now.
That's good work by
you. The big deal is there a deal big enough? Like, they don't just need complementary pieces.
No.
He'll make your line. They need something that takes this lineup from bad to maybe good enough. And I don't know if that exists. I definitely don't know if they're willing to part with the pieces to go out and get it. Like aging Mike Trout, does that even do it for you?
No,
not
with that money.
Luis Robert, Zach Berman and I talked about yesterday. I'm willing to hear the argument that it's not just a change of scenery. He is in one of the most toxic situations in baseball.
Oh,
so it's a long season when you're good.
Yeah.
Imagine if you're going to the park thinking, "Yeah, we're losing every single night." I can see you might not have your A game every night.
Sure.
I can see a change of scenery being huge for him. And when you put him in a lineup with Harper and Schwarber, maybe he is better. But what am I willing to pay for a guy who I don't know, he stunk for 2 years.
Yeah, is he going to play through every injury when it's a 12-win ball club?
And that's
There's a lot against him there.
I'm a little sore. Why would I go out there?
And I think
is pointless.
Yeah, and I think what Zach Wheeler said after the game on Sunday is like that shot of adrenaline and Adalis Garcia or Luis Robert could feel here is that standing ovation, middle of July type of atmosphere. It would hard not to be, get up to play here because it's meaningful. The fans care. It's a playoff atmosphere in the middle of the season. We're doing our part.
You know what? For once, it's not on us.
Yeah.
For once, this is completely on the players. Nobody could possibly blame us. There is, that negative atmosphere down there.
I guess Stott heard it the other night in Castellanos and all them.
It's
be better.
Maybe hit the ball. Maybe every now and then get a hit.
Yeah.
Have a double. Remember extra base hits? There are just none.
Nobody drives the gap on this team.
It just does not exist.
Harper, you talk about the upgrade, the big deal that's needed for this lineup. The big deal is probably Harper. Like Harper, I said this to VG last week. It is, year 5 or 6 of him here already?
I think it's 6.
6. 1 All-Star appearance?
It is crazy.
Like he's great, and he's the greatest showman. And
had some injuries.
Amazing moments.
Yeah.
But, overall, you're telling me in 6 years he's been an All-Star once?
He won an MVP. He won an NLCS MVP. He's been one of the most clutch hitters I've ever seen. But,
sure.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have these big first halves that, lead you to the All-Star game.
Sure.
And it just hasn't been the case. When you are talking, okay, this is the guy we need to carry the offense, I am concerned that this is what he is now because there is no upgrade that they can add that gives them what they're missing when he's not himself.
Exactly. He is the biggest upgrade they can get is Bryce Harper returning to that MVP form. I also have those bad thoughts creep in my mind now because I've talked about it in the previous 6 years. He has a violent swing, and the back always concerned me. How's that going to hold up at age 36, 37? Now the wrist that is 2 years running probably should have been an off-season surgery or something. Nothing done about it, and it's cost some time again. Those thoughts are in my head. I don't like them being there, but I don't control what enters my mind.
I love Bryce Harper, and perhaps he is the exception. Perhaps he is that great of a freak that and in a year from now, he's back in the running for an MVP.
Could be.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But when I see injuries start to pile up on a guy who's almost 33 years old, I have a phrase that our Flyers audience hears all the time. Guys who get hurt all the time, get hurt all the time.
Yeah. And you don't get less hurt when you're older.
Who gets more healthy in their mid-30s?
Yeah.
It rarely happens. Now, again, there are always exceptions.
Sure.
Like I was, I don't really want to spend big money on a running back. Like, what are the chances Saquon stays healthy?
Yeah.
And he's one of those freaks.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry, like these guys are the exception. Maybe Bryce Harper's one of those exceptions. But now we're talking about a 33-year-old. He'll be 33 in October, and he has missed significant time, a whole bunch. And I don't, if we can find a first baseman, we're going to put him back in right field. I'm looking to move him to DH. I would rather, like, if they were to find a first baseman, I'd rather put Schwarber out and left and put Bryce at the position where he was best for us.
Oh, God. Schwarber back at defense would be tough.
They went to a World Series doing it.
Yes.
That's the most success Harper and this team had, and it was while he was DHing. And maybe that saves him. You keep that spot open. Schwarber, I don't think is going to take a discount. I'll be surprised if and when they extend him. Maybe they want to keep that spot open for him. Maybe they have to. I am concerned though, because he just isn't himself.
No, he's not. It's clear. VG. God, I keep quoting VG here. I'm sorry, but
you miss him or something?
Yeah. Well, last week he brought up the name Eugenio Suarez from the Diamondbacks, and I was like, well, where the hell are you going to play him? He's like, put him at third, and Bohm goes to first, and I was like. Man, this seems like, they are one of the better teams in baseball, and we are like desperately trying to fix this offense.
It's like this starting pitching is so unbelievable.
Yeah,
that this is
that
still
it feels like a waste.
This is somehow a first place team that can't hit, constantly blows leads, and really isn't very good in the field.
Yeah, has
like
2 or 3
bullpen
pieces that you feel good about, and then it's kind of a miracle right now.
It's really impressive. But I do want to get back to last night's game because of one particular Harper at bat, but really the performance of Phil Cuzzy entirely. The umpire was really bad last night, and I will absolutely tell you, it benefited the Giants. This wasn't just a general incompetence game. This was a people online going, hey, maybe we need to look at Cuzzy's grandson's account, like his sportsbook account. And listen, I usually just err on the side of these people are incompetent and they're jerks. Like, oh, you think my strike zone was bad that last inning?
Oh, yeah.
I'll show you. Yeah. And it'll be even worse the next inning. I think that's usually what it is. They're just jerks. But it was especially bad last night. But I see those first 2 strikes and that Bryce Harper at bat, and it was the 7th or 8th. Yeah, terrible. And then he fouls off 84 right down the middle. When you get the pitch to drive, I can't worry about the pitches before that too, because Bryce Harper can't miss those. This offense can't afford him missing 84 down the middle. I know the guy's a submariner and he's hard to track, and all of a sudden your strike zone's all whacked out, but you're the $330 million man. That's not supposed to matter to you.
No, you got to put the ball in play there, get on base some way, somehow. Yeah, that's just not good enough. Cuzzy was...
But he was brutal. Like,
he was brutal.
There is
20 missed calls.
20.
I am a big ABS guy. Like, give me a challenge system. Here's the umpire audit card from last night. I mean, he missed 20 calls. That is abnormally bad for an umpire who are, basically, look, it's a tough job. We get it. But a lot of umpires stink. That is awful.
It baffles me that these are the best of the best.
Yes.
Like that, and if we were to get someone worse, like I'll always remember the NFL referee strike. And it's like, oh yeah, man, NFL refs suck. And then
it was the game in Seattle where it was that tip ball touchdown.
The Fail Mary, where it was the NFL just goes, yo, we typically don't worry about our product. And this is
gotta end. We can't do this ever again.
We have to like the typical NFL refs were just like, yeah, man, they stink.
Yeah.
And then we get those and go,
they were actually
they're
good.
The best of the best. Okay.
I mean, I don't know how old Phil Cuzzy is, but I'm 43 and I can feel my eyes going.
That is my greatest argument.
It's like he's got to be in his mid 60s at this point.
I've heard that name like my whole life.
Yes.
There's just some of these guys that you look at and go like
69.
69.
Nice.
Yeah. 69.
But 69, like, come on. His eyes are not what they once were. And it's a position where you need to be sharp. Come on.
And it's just like he starts getting it from the dugout last night.
Caleb Gotham was fired up.
He could have, and listen, argue balls and that's I just hate it so much because it just leads to you can just do whatever you want back there. I am in charge, and if I say that ball
Screw
is
you,
a
you're
strike,
outta here.
yeah, like you're out.
Yeah.
Like there is zero accountability. There just isn't any.
Well, there's that
and it's
nice
very
scorecard
frustrating.
that we get to sit up
Yeah,
here
we
and
get to
roast
look
them
at
on.
it, and guess what?
Nothing
guess what happens to Phil Cuzzy? He gets a paycheck tomorrow, and he'll be in the lineup the next day. Like, it is very frustrating.
He probably
but
went
it's
out for a nice
sidebar.
steak dinner last night.
Yes,
you know?
yeah.
He was unfazed by all of it.
It is a sidebar to last night's game because the real issue was this team
Offense.
continues to be unable to hit the ball.
And what's weird is, like, if you look at, I'm not saying that they're excuse makers, but there are a lot of people that be like, it's not that bad. They're like 10th in runs scored. And it's like, okay,
I
but
saw
they are that bad.
I saw that 13 runs they put up after they had 1 in 3 games against the Astros, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it all averages out.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, you get
Because
swept in Pittsburgh.
in the
with,
playoffs-
What, 2 runs scored that
Yeah,
weekend? Like,
in the playoffs, it's not big sample sizes.
No.
It's how good are you?
yeah.
This isn't over 160. They're on 162 when I actually care.
Yeah, there was 3 against the Mets or 4,
Yeah.
whatever it was.
And then that's that.
And
yeah.
then season's over.
You put up 1 run, you're up 1-0, and I go, oh, they're basically losing right
Yeah.
now, and they did, and that's how that game goes. It is incredibly frustrating watching this offense, but on a night where the umpiring is bad too, it's like, why did I?
Yeah.
Well, this is how I chose to spend my eve.
Yeah.
You know?
And is it wrong? Like, Dave Dombrowski has been very, for the most part, underwhelming at the trade deadline. Like, I think Estevez was a good move last year. But, like, you look at some of these names out there, and it's like, I think he's actually in a tough spot. Not to sympathize for him, but it's like there's no obvious move offensively that upgrades this team without mortgaging the future that we now potentially have. I don't know what he does, to be honest. I don't want Taylor Ward. I don't want some of these guys. Like, it's just, nah.
I just look at what this offense is and think there's a lot of guys making 20+ million who just aren't living up to it.
That's the problem.
Really, as much as I don't really care all that much about Middleton's money, he's got plenty.
Oh, burn it.
I do understand just from a business standpoint, if he goes,
Sure.
How much do I need to spend to have a decent offense? Like, what's it going to cost to get the decent after the investment I've already made? And is that worth it? I do sympathize there because the problem isn't a complimentary piece here or there. They need someone who elevates this offense to a different level because right now the level they're at is not good enough.
I kind of think they blew an opportunity to have Justin Crawford on the team on this road trip. Just to see, because you give him a week, it's away from home, he's out west, they're big ballparks, he can use his speed, maybe it gives a shot of adrenaline. Look, Otto Kemp did bring something to this team.
He did.
It may not be something that makes you a World Series contender, but it was something. I kind of think this week was the perfect time to see what Justin Crawford has before the All-Star break. And if he struggles, you send him down, and boom, it's like Men in Black. You all forgot about it. Never happened.
Yeah.
They were late-night West Coast games. If he gets on base and he puts some balls in the gap and he's legging out triples, you're like, oh damn.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's give him a look after the All-Star break, too.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to come back to the Phils in just a second. But first, we got to take our first commercial break. I got to tell you about our friends at Ace Hardware Home Services, because at Ace, they got that. If you have an outlet you said you'd fix last summer, guess what? It's July. You haven't done it. You're not going to watch one more tutorial and become an electrician. Just call our friends at Ace, because not only do they have all the tools and hardware you need to get the job done, but now they're the helpful hardware and home service repair folks. They've got the person to do the fixing as well. From plumbing and electrical to heating and cooling, they've got the trusted pros to keep your home humming all year long at Ace Hardware Home Services. They're bringing helpful home, the helpful you love from the store, now to your front door, from Philly to the Jersey Shore. I had an air conditioning problem a year ago that Ace helped me out with. There is nothing worse than being hot in your own home. Don't just think, oh, you can fix it. Maybe this won't be such a big deal. You got to call the professionals. Go to Ace, and they will get you set up in no time at all. So visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. Now, it's time to talk about Pico.
Stare it down, Bill.
Anthony Gargano, PHLY, VG. My brother, you look hot.
Dude.
I mean, I feel kind of hot too, to be honest with you.
Dude, my house is like a sauna meets a steam room. It's insane. This heat's unbearable.
Well, look, this Philly heat is no joke. It's summertime, man.
Dude, if I could tell you, I stood with my head in the freezer for 10 minutes before I left the house today. Disaster.
Brother, just turn on the AC. How come you just don't turn on your air conditioner?
Trying to save some cash, man. Save the world. Save the climate. Go green. All that stuff.
Listen, I feel you. Do yourself a favor. I got your answer.
All
All right?
right.
Like, do it solid. Check out Pico's energy saving rebates. All right, they've got deals on Energy Star cooling equipment that actually work and cut your bills.
So you're telling me no more freezer head?
No, not unless you want to look like a freezer head.
No, I'm good.
All
This is
right?
great news.
I'm serious. You're good, man. Trust me. Just head to pico.com/ways to save. They got tips for everything. Heating, cooling, lighting, you name it. It's Pico. We love Pico.
I'm in.
All right, welcome back. Yeah, this Phillies offense, and this is what it comes down to. I don't know who they could possibly add that actually makes this team any better. They have scored 2 or fewer runs 27 times in 91 games. That is well over a quarter of their games. 2 or fewer.
Oof.
It's almost impossible to win that way, even with this starting pitching. And that is, I guess, why I'm feeling a little snubbed in the All-Star race about these starting pitchers. Because you look at this team, it is an elite unit, and only Zach Wheeler gets the nod out of the
Ridiculous,
out of the rotation. Now, Ranger Suarez, I think it's unfortunate that he just started the year hurt because he has been amazing.
I think sample size hurt
it's
him.
just, okay, you just scroll down, sort by, only how many starts,
Yeah.
okay. But Sanchez
That's wrong.
has been unfreaking believable, and obviously it's already been announced, but he responds last night to not getting the call with yet another stellar performance. Trey Turner, there's shortstops who are better than him. He's having finally close to the year we were hoping for.
I don't know if there are shortstops better this year. Real quick, I have the numbers because I did John Marks yesterday, and we talked about this. Among shortstops, his batting average is first, hits is first, stolen bases is tied for first, doubles tied for first, runs second, triples tied for second, OPS third. He's the biggest snub. I think even more so than Sanchez.
More so than Sanchez. That's what we were talking about yesterday.
They're both snubbed.
Maybe I think the perception of him defensively, and when you sort by home runs and OPS, which a lot of people do, all of a sudden it's, the power numbers aren't quite there.
Yeah.
And maybe people are looking for that. Now, we know he was told, we don't care. Get on freaking base. That is what you are here to do, is be the table setter for this team. And you'll hit your home runs. You'll drive balls into the gap just because he's a really good hitter. But the focus just needed to be getting the ball in play and getting on base. And that's just undervalued right now, I think.
Yeah, it is. And Lindor is the starting shortstop, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably some New York bias there. Lindor's, he's good.
That's when it comes to a fan vote. Mets fans are reinvigorated.
Yeah, I mean, they got nothing else going. Soto's
miserable.
Already on the hot seat up there. Doesn't make the All-Star game, so I guess they had to get Lindor in. But yeah, I think Trey Turner got screwed. He is one of the more strange cases of Philadelphia athletes because probably 50% of his time here or more, he plays like an MVP quality player, but he kind of gets hated on because he boots balls in the field sometimes where you're just like, dude, how are you this athletic and this fast and this good, but you struggle with the most basic
play.
The most basic play a shortstop has. He's a very confusing case.
He is, and I have been expecting him and Stott to just get swapped at some point. Remember when Manny Machado was, oh no, you're playing me at shortstop.
Yeah.
And then he got paid like a shortstop, and okay, I'll play anywhere. You got your contract, brother. What are we proving now? What are we proving now by continuing to play you at shortstop?
It's like Rafael Devers with the Red Sox.
Yeah,
He's like, I'm not playing first.
When there are clearly better options.
Yeah. Dude,
we
you got
saw
paid.
Bryce Stott do it. He was pretty good at short.
Yeah, it's the old football thing. Do you want to make two positions worse because Stott is a better second baseman than he is a shortstop? And it's like, is Turner going to be worse at second? So it's
Could he be? I know he's improved the defense.
He has
this
improved
year.
this year.
We've seen the metrics. T-Mac has gone at length to tell us. And listen, it's true. He is better defensively
But that
this
just
year.
means he was so much worse.
Yeah, that, like, he is better defensively this year than he was in years past when he was bad.
Yeah.
Like, he's better. It is the most frustrating first place team I can remember in any sport ever. They are in first place, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Are they?
We'll talk to Devon at 10.
Yeah.
Maybe that Sixers team that had the 1 seed that year, I think we
okay.
were all kind of feeling like, all right, yeah, this is good, but like Tobias Harris. But that's an interesting question.
Through all this, must remind ourselves, like, they're going to the playoffs.
Yes.
This is going to be a playoff team.
I think they're on pace for 94, 93
and,
wins.
like, in this franchise's history,
It's great.
that is an awesome accomplishment. For them to win 90-plus games and go to the playoffs, like finish first or second in the division, that is a tremendous accomplishment for the Philadelphia Phillies, who have been around since 1883.
Biggest losers in
like
sports.
the most losing franchise of all time. And here we are. It's like, yeah, sometimes they don't hit. But
but we've been through this. Well, like when the expectation and the bar
yes.
has been set, we kind of like look. They came up small.
When
Houston year, you ran into a buzzsaw. Last year was just like we all saw it coming, and we walked directly into the train again.
yes, when you have a series lead in back-to-back years, the World Series and the NLCS, and come away with nothing to show for it, the expectations are you make up for that, or we are going to be upset with you.
Yeah.
Right now, despite their overall record, people are upset. And I do think that, like, that right there, that's the reason Trey Turner got snubbed. Because people, like, aren't psyched on the Phils leading the campaign to go out and vote. 'Cause we have a tremendous fan base. Like you said, maybe the change of scenery guys get here at the trade deadline and are reinvigorated by our tremendous fan base, and that turns things around. But as good as they are showing up, like, these are the reasons. You don't vote on pitchers, obviously. But Trey Turner, if he's the #1 snub, this is why. Because people aren't excited about the team, even though it's a really good team.
Yeah, and just looking out there, I just don't know who it is. Like, hopefully, look, Dave Dombrowski has done something that we haven't really talked about or seen coming each of these years. So hopefully he pulls a rabbit out of his hat here, and we are pleasantly surprised, and it's not a Jay Bruce at the deadline or Austin
Jay Bruce
Hayes.
got a shout out in the. No memory of that whatsoever. And being
Those
a
were dark
Philly.
days. Those were dark days.
But yeah,
But you also need bullpen help too. So
Yeah.
like to the point about this team's window, yeah, like I do kind of want to go all in because Schwarber, I hope he's back. He may not be. Castellanos is on his last year. JT, you're probably going to bring back on a smaller deal because you don't have a better option.
and I will say,
Ranger's gone,
watching the success of this pitching staff, maybe we have the best pitching coach and the best, professional scouts in the world in terms of evaluating pitcher talent. As much as JT's bat does frustrate me,
He's a great catcher.
He is kind of back there doing a lot of the work.
Yeah, I mean,
Like-
Zach Wheeler gave him credit Sunday.
Yeah.
He said JT calls a great game for me.
So
Like, those guys love him. So I'm fine with him staying here.
I guess I can, as much as I just want the team to freaking hit, I don't want to take away from what is the
Sure.
elite part of this. And that battery is kind of.
Yeah, I mean, there's very few Sal Perez's and big dumpers of the world, where you're going to offensively carry a team from the catcher position. So I can live with that. But like the most disappointing things to me are the daycare. Bohm, Stott, and Marsh. None of them really playing above what they are. Bryce Stott in particular is the one that's kind of like hurt my soul.
He's the one we had the highest hopes
Yeah.
for. And that's really, I think, the crux of the issue. And why the payroll has to be what it is.
Yeah.
And why they have to increase it exponentially
Sure.
if they actually want to win the World Series. Because you have created nothing.
Yeah.
You have brought nothing, no difference makers up from your system, especially offensively, in years. I mean,
Yeah.
really, who are we talking? Alec Boehm is the best one. And
Yeah, he's the best.
He's all right.
He's slightly above average
he's
player.
fine. He's fine.
He's not going to like set the world on fire. He's gotten better defensively. I'll give him credit there. But like the power numbers are never going to come.
There's been no one since Ruben and Arbuckle Like, that's it. Like, that is, in terms of
offensively,
offensive difference makers,
there's none.
and that's why you've had to buy your entire offense, and here we are.
I mean, I'm so desperate. I'm pounding the table for Justin Crawford. Like, just give me something to hope about.
Yeah, something. Give me the, like I say to Charlie all the time when he's like, "You just want the shiny new toy."
Yeah.
Yes,
I do.
Yes, I do. When I'm watching the same thing over and over, give me the unknown.
Like Cedric
give me
Mullins
a new thing. Yeah.
is one of the big trade deadline names. Like, do you want to go get Cedric Mullins? I don't really
Not
want to go get
especially,
Cedric Mullins.
but-
I'd rather just see Justin Crawford.
Yeah, it's
like I don't expect Justin Crawford to carry this team in the playoffs, but like, yeah, I want
What
to
if?
see him.
It's-
What if?
You know how baseball's weird?
Yeah, it's the
What if
weirdest.
that weird thing just happens? Aren't we due for the weird thing to benefit us?
Yeah.
When was the last time that happened?
I mean, I guess Sanchez and Ranger probably are our weird things, and we might be weirded out.
Yeah.
You know, like the transformation those guys took, and Sanchez's contract is probably the best deal in baseball
like-
right now.
like identifying Sanchez from the organization that usually does the
Yeah,
identifying.
And he was kind of like the last name thrown in too,
Yeah,
wasn't he?
Like actually getting that thing done. That is
that might
pretty-
have been a weird
that
allotment.
might be it. Yeah, that really might be it. But it's
I'm just looking at some of these trade deadline names, Bill, and it's just like
it's so uninspiring.
it's so just a bunch of guys.
Like even in terms of bullpen pieces, I said to Zach yesterday, like, how much can I interest you in a slightly used Sir Anthony Dominguez? Like, I don't know. He's having a decent year.
Yeah.
Like,
the one I want, and I don't even know if it's a true rumor, but there was the rumor from Pittsburgh like 2 weeks ago that the Phillies and Pirates for Bednar and Santana.
Sure.
I want that. Give me the two for one kind of upgrade here to the bullpen. Because look, if they can't improve offensively, then you just have to go lean into the other route.
I think you have to maybe offensively, and it sucks to say, hope that like Kepler gets a little better. Hope that Harper becomes some semblance of Bryce Harper again.
You're not winning anything if Bryce Harper
Yeah,
isn't Bryce
that's
Harper.
if Schwarber and Harper are who they're supposed to be,
Yeah.
you have a puncher's chance,
Absolutely.
especially if you can solidify the bullpen and protect a 2-1 lead.
Yeah,
If you are
absolutely.
capable of actually shutting down a 2-1 game, you have some chance. I wouldn't rush to Bet Parks and put everything I have on the Phils to win the NL or win the series, but like you have a chance.
Yes. Right now, this
But that's
offense
it.
tells me, like, in a series, you probably don't have a great chance.
If you're Dombrowski right now, like as much as you want to get Middleton his damn trophy back, do you have to kind of look at this and go, what can I do to put this team over the top? Because right now we still have to get up the hill before we're ready to get all the way over and to the other side.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, these names are just like
Uninspiring.
Oh man, like,
That's this playoff format has ruined the trade
sucks.
deadline.
Yeah, the trade deadline sucks.
I
now.
get it. Keep more teams interested. Have have more gate later in the season. Have more playoff gate for more teams to go around. But it really makes the haves and have-nots like, oh yeah, man, we're 500. We might get in. We have a good chance actually.
Yeah.
It's
like a bunch of White Sox and Orioles players on the trade
and
block.
that's the thing. These teams have won 8 games combined this year. I don't
Yeah.
know. I probably don't want anyone on the Rockies.
Do you want a
Like,
team from a player from this losing
Yes.
organization or this losing organization?
Oh yeah, well the Rockies never do anything, and they have the best home field advantage in baseball, and still are freaking terrible.
Yeah.
Maybe they just don't have any good players.
And Laureano, another
Yeah,
guy from the
like-
Orioles. I'm like, does he upgrade this team?
Yes. Why are they so bad if we're
Maybe.
taking all their players?
Like, I don't know. It
it's-
stinks.
This is just a very. I guess it is the expectations. Like,
Yes,
I keep
once
having,
expectations
I
are
keep having to
set.
back up and go, it's a very frustrating first place team. But you just look and go, they have the same problems they've had for years now, and this is what has cost them the ultimate glory, is that these holes remain. The Marsh trade, all right, you gave it a shot. He's clearly not an everyday center
Hoppy
fielder.
was pretty much blocked here.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that
But-
trade.
How do you continue to just go, yeah, we're going to not have a center fielder? This is a premium position.
Yeah.
This isn't like, you're not just getting by with a platoon like on your 5th starter.
Yeah.
We're talking about your everyday center fielder. They don't have one.
You can get by with 1 platoon, 2 platoons in your outfield is a
You have
death sentence.
3 guys who really aren't that good taking up 2/3 of your outfield.
Yeah, Kepler
That's it.
stinks.
And-
That's just a bad signing.
Yeah.
$10 million. He stinks. Johan Rojas, I guess I get it. If I could have Johan Rojas as a bench piece / defensive replacement late, that would be ideal. But as a starting caliber outfielder, no thank you.
Yeah, it is.
And then Castellanos is he's also fallen off a cliff.
We need him to be a 20 home run, 40 double guy, and he just isn't.
No.
Like, he gives you something, and he was pretty clutch for us in the playoffs last year. So, like,
Blastianos.
Not going to blast and not going to kill him but he just kind of is what he is.
Yeah.
He's a nice complimentary 5-6 hole hitter. It would be nice if we had everyone in front of him, but they just don't. Like, you need him to be one of the guys carrying the load, and he is, and that's why the offense is terrible.
And it's wild because of, like, the last 2 years, there's been points in time where he's batting 4 and 5. And it's just like, what does that say about your lineup where he's in the 4 or 5 hole?
And this team is just a walking double play waiting to happen.
Yep.
It is so frustrating. All right, we're going to move on to some other things that are of equally frustrating, perhaps, but and thank God for the birds. Really, thank God for the birds.
So they're coming out with the ESPN top 100 players in the league right now, and I asked, I guess it was Tyler yesterday. I think there's a good chance the Eagles could have like 10% of the top 100 players.
I mean, it makes sense. You know, if Jalen is being carried by all these guys, they might as well make the list, you know?
I mean, you can make the case Devontae and AJ are both on there. Saquon's definitely on there. Mailata and Lane, you're already at 6. Then you throw in Quinion and Jalen Carter. Zach Bond is 9. Like, you can make the case that 10% of the top 100 players in the NFL are Eagles. And that's really cool to say.
At least we have something keeping the train on the tracks here. In
Thank you,
town.
Jeffrey Lowry and Howie Roseman.
Lowry and Howie, we owe you a beer. All right, before we get into any more of today's show, though, I got to tell you about our friends at Bet Parks. Tonight, we've got some Philadelphia baseball out on the West Coast. It is game 2 of this series in San Fran. And listen, if you're looking to live bet on tonight's game, well, you need the Bet Parks app to do it. We have Taijuan Walker starting for Philly tonight in case you were looking for more reasons to be frustrated. But it's never frustrating on the Bet Parks app, where you can bet game props on the Bet Parks app, like this one. Philadelphia to win and to score first tonight. A $25 wager on that combo pays $53.75. If you think tonight is the night they break out of that offensive slump, perhaps you want to get in on that. Plus, you can BetWire. BetWire is now live right inside the Bet Parks app. You can just, if you want to think about what it is, think TikTok, but for people that love sports betting more than dance tracks. BetWire is the all-new sports betting live feed with quick videos, hot takes, game predictions, and more from sports betting content creators all across the country. You scroll a little, you can tail a pick with a simple tap and get fired up with BetWire, the live sports betting content feed right inside that Bet Parks app. Plus, you can check out these new games on the Bet Parks app: Huff and More Puff, Mega Fire Blaze, Dwarves and Goblins, the Flintstones, Money Horse. So many ways to have a great time with Bet Parks, whether you're in the sports book or the casino app. And new users, if you're trying to get in on this casino app, now is the time. It's a deal you can't pass up. New users can get up to a $1,000 cashback bonus. See betparks.com for all the terms and conditions. You love to play. You play to win. You bet. Bet Parks. Must be 21 or older and in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Michigan, or Maryland. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And it's the summertime, and as a father of 2 young girls, I got to be on my game. And with Rothman Orthopedics, they help you get your summers back. Whether it's a weekend hiking with the girls, I was tossing my nieces and nephews and daughters around the pool the other day, running in the ocean, body surfing, digging ditches. You can't be going through summer with pain. And that's why we here at PHLY trust Rothman Orthopedics, because it's time to call in the experts. If pain is slowing you down this season, take the first step. Head to rothmanortho.com/PHLY and schedule your appointment today. Their specialists are here to treat what's holding you back. Their top-tier care will have you moving and enjoying every moment of summer. Rothman Orthopedics, your summer, your mobility, their mission.
Yeah, you're talking about
Dude.
Like digging ditches on the beach.
Oh, it's
I'm
the
with
worst.
my niece and nephew. They're gonna be like 8 in August. We were just down.
Endless energy.
We were just down in Sea Isle for 4th of July, like the whole week.
Yeah.
And Uncle Bill, like, dig a hole with me. I'm like down there. The next morning, I'm like, hey, was I doing squats yesterday? Like, why am I just in pain?
I'm
She's
at
like,
the point where I want
you're
to
37.
I want to
That's
bring
why.
the real shovel. Like those little dune scoopers. Like those things stink. I want to bring like the real deal, like
Plastic
ditch
on the
digger.
wood. Yeah. Yeah, they do stink.
No, we're using these. We're using like these plastic shovels. We got a Dalrymples.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to break this. I am too big for this shovel. Like, Uncle Bill, dig the hole. Like, you dig the hole. You're the one who wants the hole.
I made the mistake Sunday. We did the Phillies out at the pool. And 3 nieces and nephews, my 2 daughters, and I made the mistake of throwing a kid. The problem with children is you can't do anything fun because then they just want it for the next 4 hours.
That's that.
And I literally had nieces and I did it for like probably 2 hours. But there was a point where I was like literally throwing kids off of me. Like, Uncle Jamie is tapping out. Dad is tapping out. I'm going to throw a rotator cuff out here. So you can't start anything fun because then they just want you to do it for hours.
Well,
it's the problem.
maybe someone else just help a little bit with that mobility. Going into the activity season. 40-year-old Kyle Lowry.
He might be seeing Roth.
He won't be 40 until March. Excuse me.
Okay.
Only
Yeah,
39.
A young 39.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why is this what we're doing?
I don't know. He must be an amazing leader. That's the only thing that makes sense.
And this has been my argument so much whenever, like the Flyers for the last decade. Oh, well, you just don't know about the intangibles, the presence he has, what he brings to our young guys. If he's a minus on the floor, but he's so good in the locker room, what if we leave him in there?
Yeah.
What if he's just a coach? Retire and become a coach.
Sure.
Like, if this is what you're great at, do that thing.
Yeah, our friend
And
Hugh
listen,
Douglas was what? A player ambassador?
Yeah, be the wear the sash and
Yeah.
start a fight with T.O. in the locker room. It's probably a good
Kyle
idea.
Lowry can be the ambassador to the Sixers.
When Embiid's sitting there, like, I don't know, out of shape, you just start a fight with him, like you did.
I mean, it's either the Nick Nurse relationship is as strong as steel.
Obviously, yep.
Or Daryl Morey made sort of an agreement with him. Or he must be like a Tyrese Maxey, like, hey, get under my wing, kid, and like I'm gonna show you the way. Like those are the only things that make sense because there's nothing on the court of basketball, and we'll talk to Devon about this because I think the Sixers guys all feel the same way. Great guy, hometown guy, love the story.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
It's great.
I wish we had him.
But that's a
10
roster
years
spot
ago,
that
man.
could probably be used on
Yeah.
a young kid that can actually give you some meaningful minutes.
We got this Mike Meach tweet that just cracked me up.
Meach is the man.
Kyle Lowry and Eric Gordon's combined age of 75 is more than their combined games played last season. This is just a roster spot that is going for roster spots that are being used for what is my question.
And it's a good thing it's not a roster full of guys with injury histories where you actually
like,
need some of those deeper roster spots.
None of these, they're going to have to play.
Yeah.
There's just no way around it. And we saw a little bit of this.
It's not like Paul George and Joel Embiid get hurt where backups have to play and everybody gets elevated a couple spots on the depth chart.
I almost had to laugh if it wasn't so freaking sad.
We all saw it coming. We saw the train coming down the tracks. Eric Gordon, Andre Drummond, Kyle Lowry coming right at us. And
of course,
it ran us over.
We get news of a VJ Edgecombe thumb injury.
Welcome to Philadelphia.
It's like, I saw like, it's not considered serious. The organization is just operating out of abundance of caution.
I love the abundance.
He will be day to day going forward.
Out for the season.
Yeah, like I'm just, it's not serious. Like it can't be hurt if it gets amputated. Like if he just loses his thumb, it's no longer injured. It doesn't exist.
I don't think you could shoot too well without a thumb.
The luck of this organization, and there's plenty of just bad decisions and stupid crap that they've done. But I just feel horrible for Sixers fans. If you are invested in the day-to-day of this team the way I just tapped out on years ago, I feel sorry.
So I had a wedding Saturday
Nothing good
night.
ever happens.
I had a wedding Saturday night, so I couldn't I couldn't watch the game, but I followed it and I saw the box score and I was like, man, VJ, I'm red pilled. I'm ready to go. VJ Edgecombe, this kid's gonna be the future. Like it was so exciting to have that back again, to care about a summer league game again. And then I tune in last night. Dinner just got done, so I threw on the TV in the kitchen. And I'm like, where's that 77 fella? And I'd missed Kyle and Derek's tweets and all that. And I was like, wait, what? And then I see our tweet from PHLY Sports, out of the game last minute due to a thumb contusion. And I was like, why does everyone come here and just break?
Yeah, like, it's just, maybe this isn't serious, but it's just
It's probably not.
Why can't he just, if it's not serious, play through it. And I say that, and I'm like, because it'll get worse.
Yeah.
Because then it will need to be amputated.
Yeah.
It's just, nothing ever goes right.
VJ Edgecombe has gangrene of his right-handed thumb.
Nothing has gone right for this organization in 20 years.
Yeah.
It just feels like they are so snake bitten.
Yeah, it does feel, we say the Phillies are the biggest losers in sports history. It does feel like the Sixers are, right?
Yeah.
Like, it just feels like everything they do is cursed.
Yes.
And I don't know if we sold our soul for Sam Hinkie or the Colangelos, like whatever happened during that time period, but it just feels like we're never going to get out of it.
Charlie has a theory.
The Wells Fargo
that
theory?
it's the Wells Fargo Center.
Does
And
the name change count?
once the name change is completed, things will be better. Now, of course, they have to get back into that building.
Well, they never really won when it was the Wachovia or the FU Center either.
They didn't, but at least good things happen
We
sometimes.
like Xfinity Mobile.
We do.
The Xbox has a good name
Yeah,
to
it
it.
does.
Yeah, but PlayStation's better than Xbox. So.
I'm an Xbox fan. I always had a problem with PS2.
You had a problem with PS2?
Yeah, it would always it would always just give me a hard time. I was always an Xbox fan.
Just always busting my balls.
Plus,
Who's hurting my feelings?
Just come home. You want me to do chores instead of playing.
Plus, I was a big Halo guy.
You suck. You suck.
I was a big Halo guy. But Villanova never had a problem winning there. The Wings never had a problem winning there.
The Soul?
The Soul. I mean, that was Titletown.
The Phantoms won their second cup
Yeah,
there.
Yeah, very true.
Everybody can
Yeah.
win except the Sixers and Flyers there.
Yeah, maybe it's just these organizations are poorly run. Maybe it's just that the organizations themselves are poorly run.
They're signing too many 40-year-olds.
It's one of them Occam's razor things that Charlie always talks about. Like,
I mean, hopefully the Xfinity Mobile Arena changes all of that.
Perhaps there's some sort of sage burning, some sort of exorcism
Yeah.
that goes on. But it just feels like people are excited. He has that great
I
game.
know.
And
It was such a
then
buzzkill last
suddenly,
night. Because
yeah,
I went from like, oh, I'm going to watch a Sixers Summer League game, which is a lot to say out loud. And, you know, like, my wife was like, what are you doing?
Why
Like,
are you doing this to us?
And I was like, I'm working with Bill tomorrow. I got to watch VJ Edgecombe. And then as soon as I learned he's out, I was like, I have no interest. Like, Justin
What
Edwards,
am I watching?
a Dembona, and then a bunch of, like, slop. And I was just like, I can't put my family through this. I'm gonna go have
family through this.
I'm gonna go have dinner with the girls.
That's how
Delicious spatchcock chicken last night. Yeah, it was nice.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
We're
It
gonna
was
have
much better than the summer league.
we're gonna have Devon on to talk about all this depressing stuff at the top of the hour. So maybe he can talk me down, because I am now like
I'm a little
I am
bit.
such a fringe Sixers fan at this point.
Yeah,
Like,
you're like me with Flyers.
I can't watch the games for the most part because there's so much overlap.
Yeah.
Like, we're in here together
Sure.
doing we're doing post games like on the same night 50% of the time.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, they're just so frustrating. I already have one team that just like makes me so mad all the time. Having another, it's like I don't want to be miserable. I don't need to do this.
So I know this is a me problem, but I can already feel myself talking myself into the optimistic angles of this season.
For the Sixers?
Yes. And I know it's a me problem, and I know how it's going to end.
Good for you, man.
Yeah,
No,
I can
honestly,
recognize this,
if
but
you're-
I'm walking right into it.
If
Phil.
you are able to do that to yourself,
Yeah.
good for you, man. To be able to get into a positive headspace with, I just have,
And I know I'm going to eat these words.
Like-
I see Tatum go down. I see Halliburton go down. You know, the Knicks are going to be a problem, and the Bucks are probably going to be good. But, like, if Embiid can just give you 55 games, and Paul George can show you a modicum of what he's been in the past, like, they have potential.
Here's the potential. Embiid can't play 55 games. He needs to
Probably
play
not.
0. He needs to play 0
Only the
regular
playoffs.
season games. If he plays a single regular season game, he will be injured in the playoffs.
I mean,
100%, that is guaranteed to happen.
Facts.
He has never been healthy in the playoffs.
Well, the Mickey Mouse bubble, he was healthy. That was the only time.
And it was the worst playoffs
And they
they
got
ever had.
swept.
Yeah, because everyone else was injured and he didn't really try
and
all
they made
that hard.
Shake Milton the point guard.
Yeah, it was. It will never happen.
No.
He needs to play 0 games.
You're probably right.
And I don't know how you keep him in shape because, but the only chance they have of keeping him healthy is doing like a Tampa Bay Lightning and going, all of our guys are hurt. Day one of the playoff, they're all healthy. It's
look at
crazy.
that. Everybody's healthy.
That's the only way for him to maybe be able to stay healthy.
I think
through the
even
playoffs.
if we go with the Bill Matz theory where he sits out all 82 games, I do think they can be a playoff team. So like maybe you're onto something.
Get in.
Here. We'll run it by Devon. See what he thinks.
Run it by, sit him for 82 games and see how it goes.
Can he play like 25 simulated games in like a bubble?
He can
just
play,
to, like
get
condition
him,
himself.
figure out a way to get him into the All-Star game
Yeah.
without playing it all in the season. Just to
It is
just
weird.
to warm him up a little bit.
We've gotten no update on it's. We're now 9 or 10 weeks post
'Cause
surgery.
there's no injury. It's just his body doesn't work.
His body.
There's no
failed.
injury. It's just this is who he is.
Yeah.
Okay, get surgery. He's gonna need another one.
He was out at the soccer games in town. I saw some pictures of his charity doing some work. I
Super
was like,
slim. He's very slim.
He does look slim, but he is standing on his legs.
Oh, that's good.
So that was encouraging.
We saw him. He doesn't have the
He is
Pistorius
upright.
metal legs. Like, that's great. That's great to see.
He was upright.
He's got 2 human legs.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So we got that going for us, which is pretty
He
cool.
was on all fours.
Crawling around.
Yeah, I know it's gonna hurt again.
It's just-
and I'm talking myself because VJ one summer league game of VJ Edgecombe looking like an actual number 3 pick
Yeah.
in the draft, looking like he belongs. I went, oh man, I can already feel myself getting irrational about this season.
Why does everyone hate the number 77?
I
I
it
saw
grew on
nothing
me a
but
little
negative.
bit.
I saw nothing but negative reactions
'Cause
to it.
it's
And, like,
Mekhi
as a
Becton.
hockey guy, 77, badass number.
Yeah, what was Pronger?
Pronger,
He was in the 70s, wasn't
yeah, what the hell? He was like,
Wasn't he
I can't remember all
79
of
or
a sudden.
something?
he? Yeah,
No, he was 20. He
20?
was number
Okay.
20. Paul Coffey wore 77.
77. Yeah, Paul.
Chris
Coffey.
Gratton,
Yeah.
after they got rid of Coffey, went from 55 to 77. Broke my heart as a kid because I'd already bought a 55 jersey. Just
Yeah, 77 is
still
a good
hold it
hockey
against
number.
them. It's a
Luka-
great hockey number.
Luka's 77.
Lucas
Like,
normalized
I think
it.
if it's
is
so
a nor-
associated with one guy, it's like, what? You're not? Are you? You're saying you're him?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of
It's
what
an
it is.
offensive lineman number, so I think a
Yes.
lot of people go that. It grew on me.
It's so weird looking that I like it.
Yeah, it did grow on me some. Yeah, I mean the kid looks like he's legit.
He
and that's
does.
all, and that's all you can ask for.
And that's like part of the article from last night was actually he might have even played better. Just seeing what they looked like without him.
yeah,
The box score might not have even shown entirely how good VJ was because he made them look like a competent team. And when he wasn't
competed.
there, it was terrible.
yeah, and 27 shots. Good.
Yeah.
Like I want my number 3 pick to be like, screw everybody on this court. I'm the best player here. I'm going to take it
Well, yeah,
over.
why would-
Like that's the attitude you
Well,
want.
that's exactly who you're
Yeah.
supposed to be.
That's what summer league's all about. F it, we ball.
All right, now
You
to
know?
continue this uplifting conversation of hope and optimism, it is from the PHLY Sixers beat our friend Devon Givens. What's going on today, Devon?
Good morning, fellas. How you doing?
Very well, very well.
Well, you tell me, Devon. I'm walking myself into a Sixers train wreck, and I see it coming a mile away. I was
As
VJ
you should.
I was VJ Edgecombe red pilled after Saturday night. I am talking myself into the
Yeah.
optimistic outlook for the season, and I know it's going to hurt when it's not optimistic at the end.
Well, you don't have much of a choice after what you had to deal with from what December all the way through April. So
That was an
yeah,
unserious
you get a little bit of
organization, yes.
so you get a little bit of the little spark of joy, right? And you want to enjoy it. You didn't have a chance to do so during the regular season. So yeah, man. I mean, look, all the anticipation for the number 3 overall pick, all the conversations that we had about different players, different prospects of who would fit best with the Sixers, all of them had a place here. Of course, it was just making sure that you took that swing and didn't miss and threw one game, and it looked really good. And the highlight stuff that he did, the fact that he did some other things that we talked about that he did not show as much at Rutgers, put on display in game 1. And then, as you said, and I agree with you, both of you, taking 27 shots, great. take all those shots because I want to see if you can not only do that, but then also still have the energy on defense to play the way that you do, to also run the offense the way that he did a little bit, and show just a little bit of juice, as you say, in that first game. So the excitement is warranted. Plus, this is just a teaser, man, because this is the Utah Summer League with 3 games. Then you go to Vegas, man. It's Vegas, baby, and it's really showtime. The lights are really on you on that stage.
Devon, how much are you looking forward? You're going on the Vegas trip, aren't you? How much are you looking forward to that? Because I'm thinking about my off-season trips, the preseason stuff with the Flyers, and it's Allentown and Hershey. You get a little bit better. You're going to have a little bit better of a time. How much are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, well, I mean, again, we get to see him for the first time up close and personal. Janai Broom, also, who I wasn't the biggest fan of that selection, but
I have a
I
bigger
want to see
vertical.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I'm good on the Papa shot, so I'm all good. So I'm curious to see how that works. Even though I wasn't the biggest fan of the selection, I want to see how they put it together. And Bill, you're right, man. It's Vegas. You get to go out there. You get to network. You get to talk to a lot of people. It's hot already. It's hot as hell already out there. Yeah. So yeah. I'm sorry. I wish you can go with us, so you don't have to just go to Allentown.
There's a great brewery there, great pizza place. I'll live, Devon.
Devon, the peak today in Las Vegas is 106 degrees.
Yes. So
I believe Bodner hates it, right? He hates the weather out there. Where do you fall?
When it gets that hot, so look, that's nothing compared to last summer. You guys remember we were out there for 8 days because of USA basketball, and then Summer League followed immediately after. And when we got there, it was in the middle of, and I'm saying this like it's not already a heat wave out there anyway, as you just said, 106. It was the middle of a heat wave for them of 118. And we were there when it was 118, 117, 116. And I don't think it got below 110 while we were out there for that time. Yeah.
That doesn't sound.
So
it's a dry heat,
so
so it's not that bad. Yeah.
But it was hot, man. Yeah, it was hot. So this 106 is nothing compared. 106 is nothing compared to last summer.
Devon, this thumb injury for Edgecombe. Listen, they're saying it's not serious. They're just gonna have an abundance of caution, but I hear that and just think, oh, yeah, he's going to lose the thumb. Like, do you believe them at all whenever they say something's not serious?
At least for Summer League, I'll say, because look, Hunter Salas missed game 1 because of an ankle injury he played last night. You knew VJ Edgecombe wasn't going to play in all 3 of these games. So instead of them saying rest, they said, you know what, he's got a little thumb thing and he's not going to play in a back-to-back Monday, Tuesday. Let's give him off Monday. Maybe he plays tonight against Memphis. And then the first game is on Thursday against Dylan Harper and the San Antonio Spurs. So in this case, Bill, I think I believe them just because they didn't want him to play in the back-to-back. Or just simply, you know what? We saw enough in game 1. We'll let you rest up until we get to Las Vegas on Thursday.
I'll choose to accept that.
So, Devon,
yes.
We read a tweet from our buddy Mike Meach a little bit ago. And he said the combined age of Eric Gordon and Kyle Lowry is more than the games played between the two of them last year.
Wow.
We all saw this coming. Kyle Lowry, Eric Gordon, Andre Drummond. But it actually happened. 3 roster spots. Makes sense. Is it the Nick Nurse relationship? Is it a Daryl Morey guarantee? Is it the leadership he provides a young Maxey and McCain and others? Like, why did this happen? Because there's no real meaningful point to him playing basketball for the Sixers.
Well, I'll start with the 3 of them first because you say, why did this happen? It did start last summer when we were praising how the offseason went. I won't say all of us overlooked the fact that they had player options on year number 2. So the player options started from last summer, and none of us expected the season, of course, to go the way that it did. So maybe you wouldn't have been as ticked off if they got to the Eastern Conference Finals, right? And these guys come back and they do exercise their options to stay. So that's where it began with Drummond and Gordon in particular. Now, Kyle Lowry's piece, he wanted to play year 20. wanted to do it at home. There are not many players who have played 20 years in the NBA. I don't expect him to play a lot, if at all. He'll get some minutes here and there that Nick Nurse calls on him. Kyle and I did the emergency yesterday after this news dropped. Of course, he was upset, like you and Bill are, of why is this happening right now? Because why are you taking up 3 roster spots with 3 players that may not even play as veterans? Yes, the veteran leadership is important, but not for 3 players to take up that role. So that's the frustrating part, because again, this started from last summer, and you knew they were going to opt in because of how poor their seasons were, and they weren't going to get $5 million or $3.4 million on the open market. And in Kyle Lowry's case, he just wanted to stay home. So yeah, if it was just the one guy and he stayed home and he was that veteran leader for Jared McCain that he was a year ago, the mentorship continues in year number 2, and he helps out VJ Edgecombe. Well, that's Eric Gordon's job and Kyle Lowry's job as well this season. So you hope that with the possibility of moving Andre Drummond and this $5 million in some trade somewhere actually happens, so you can clear up that spot where it's just the 2 of those veteran guards on the roster.
Well, that was the thing. It's not even so much the signings, the options. It's, hey, this team's going to need its bench because they have at least 2 guys who are hurt constantly, and it just seems to be depleting the depth. But getting back to Summer League, we have the one more Utah game, and then you guys go out to Vegas. Outside of Edgecombe, what should a fringe Sixers fan like me be maybe paying a little bit more attention to?
The development, to continue, just to see, because Summer League is Summer League, and we can get excited, we can get disappointed in play, and we can get too high, too low when it's still just Summer League. Jared McCain and Justin Edwards did not have a good Summer League a season ago. They wound up having 2 pretty good rookie seasons for the Sixers, one being a draft pick, one being an undrafted guy. So with this one, while again, don't get too high, don't get too low, maybe just evaluate what they're doing, seeing some of the good stuff. Watch out for Justin Edwards and a Dembona year 2 on this stage. Keep an eye on Janai Broom, the 2nd-round pick, and see what he provides as a player at both the 4 and at the 5 for him. And see if any of these other players pop. I mentioned Hunter Salas already. He was their first 2-way player that they signed as an undrafted guy after the 2nd round on that Thursday night, the 26th. And he's intriguing, Bill. I mean, he's 6'4", has some pretty good wingspan, athletic, can score the basketball, but can he also run a team a little bit? At 6'4", he's probably going to have to be a bit of a combo guard to help out with some ball handling things as well. So those would be, 4 players that I would focus on outside of Edgecombe. And just for the Edgecombe piece, it's just more of watch his ball handling, see if he can improve on the ball handling, see if he can improve in running the team and organizing things in the half-court set and making sure the guys get into a pretty good spot. See if the pull-up jumper, mid-range wise, still continues like it did in game 1, and maybe knock down a few more 3-pointers as well for Edgecombe. But those other players, those other 3 players that I mentioned, Edwards, Bona, Salas, see if they develop in some way or show some good things in some way during the Summer League run. They're gonna have the window to do so, and you want to see Salas play over Jalen Hood-Scafino, who played more last night because he played better. It was the first game for Salas, but maybe in this game 2 tonight against the Memphis Grizzlies, he shows a little bit better, and he feels comfortable when he gets to Las Vegas and understands what the playbook is, understands what the sets are that TJ DeLeo and the coaching staff are calling, and maybe he gets a little bit more run. So those are the 3 players that I'll be watching outside of Edgecombe and what they do.
Devon, what's Broom's role this year? I assume he's going to be playing the 4. Like, how many minutes a game do you see if everything's going ideally for the Sixers and the starters are actually playing starters minutes? What do you see Broom's role being? Is he just a junkyard guy? Is he somebody that's going to have to get up more threes to be effective in this offense? Like, what do you see for him?
Well, as far as the 3-pointers go, I'd imagine they would encourage that a little bit and see if he can knock a few of those down. He did knock 2 down last night. He knocked 2 down in the first game on Saturday night. So that's good. We'll see if that continues during the rest of the Summer League and how much they continue to empower him to do so during the regular season. But yeah, you're right. Junkyard dog, get those rebounds, put a body on somebody. 10 minutes maybe occasionally. I think it'll be situational because of the fact that if Andre Drummond is here for, let's say, through the trade deadline, right? Let's say he's here for a little bit through the trade deadline. It's going to be hard for him to play over Andre Drummond and Adem Bona. So I think it would be a situational thing for him. Could we see him more playing a tad bit just to keep going occasionally with the Delaware Bluecoats? Not a lot, just enough, right, to get some work in with the Bluecoats. So I don't yet know, but I do know that they like the toughness. They like the rebound. They like the fact that he is a dog and he will get out there and he will mix it up with the opposition to make sure that the Sixers win whatever possession of battle that they have. And that's why I said I'm also just really intrigued to see how he is developed with the 76ers, because I'm with you. I really don't know what the role is. He's too slow at the four because he can't keep up with a lot of those fours. But then he's also maybe a little bit undersized at the five. Not necessarily undersized because he's 6'9", and that we know what the center position is today outside of Embiid, Jokic, and Rudy Gobert, et cetera. These Alperen Şengün, where these guys are just super skilled. But as you pointed out, you can probably dunk on a basketball court before he does because the vertical is not there. He's a below the rim player, but he is skilled. So as many jokes as we make, he is super skilled. You are All-American for a reason, and first team All-American for a reason, averaging almost a double-double at one of the best college basketball programs for the last couple of years. He's legit for a reason, and they selected him for a reason at pick number 35. That's an extension of the first round pick, and they picked him over a few of the other players that we thought were still in the conversation at that spot. So, I don't yet know outside of those things. Maybe 10 minutes here, 7 minutes here. Just go in there and do some things again. Get a little nasty out there on the floor and let everybody know that you're out there, and see if you can earn some minutes, because he has good hands. Again, he can rebound the basketball, which they had a problem with a year ago. And let's see if that all translates to the NBA for him.
All right, Devon, thank you for joining us today, and I hope you enjoy Vegas, man. Just stay out of the heat. Get in those air-conditioned casinos and enjoy yourself indoors.
Do we have a?
I sure will.
The three of you, who's most likely to hit the tables out there?
Kyle.
Kyle. And who's most likely to see a show?
Kyle.
Kyle. And who's most likely to go to a sexy pool party?
I think all of us. We did see the show last summer, as you guys know. Actually, I got my Dead & Co hat on right now. Yeah, the Dead & Co with John Mayer last year at the Sphere. It was fun, and Kyle convinced us to go, and I don't regret it at all because it was a blast.
Yeah,
that does
I don't know about the Backstreet Boys this year. We
is
don't,
that who's there right now?
Yeah, that's who's there right now. So unless Bree says we have to go,
Save your money.
Bree says we have to go, we have to go. But other than that, we probably won't go.
Go throw it on Black.
I think that could be hilarious. Like that could be a low-key great Derek start breaking down like Backstreet's back. All right. You're like, Derek, what the hell? That would be it could be really funny. Like, there's a chance that's great content.
It could be. Yeah, it could be.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Devon. Appreciate you joining us today.
All right,
here
fellas.
On the
See you, Devon.
Anthony Gargano Show, presented by our friends at Parks Casino. I'm feeling a little better. I'm feeling okay. They didn't want him in the back-to-back. Instead of calling it rest, it's a thumb injury. Just like, call it rest, man. Since when are we not trying to call things rest? Like, we're suddenly against doing that. Like, after.
Do you ever see that meme where it's like the person in the back seat and it's like the scary face and it's like, why can't you just ever be normal?
Yeah.
I feel like that's what those guys all are like after covering the Sixers for so long.
No, absolutely.
Like, why can't they just be normal?
Just like be good or bad, and that's it. Stop being ridiculous.
Yeah,
and that's really, I think,
that's their baseline.
What we've had to, it's what we've had to deal with this entire time is ridiculousness out of this organization. I don't know, my whole life. Really, even the Iverson years when they were good, it wasn't as if that was normal. It's like, oh, we have this coach and this superstar, and they hate each other.
Yeah,
like, and it's openly known.
And then Larry Hughes, like you passing over Paul Pierce and Dirk Nowitzki because you promised his mom at like his workouts that you would take him. Like, that was weird. My first heartbreak as a kid was losing Charles Barkley. and like the awful jerseys and him just ripping ownership for
those
not
great
being
jerseys. I love those jerseys.
He was like, my daughter in 2nd grade could mock up better jerseys. So like that was like one of my first child heartbreaks was Charles Barkley getting traded. So like, yeah, basically they've tormented me my entire life. They were once a great organization that used to like win. And what's weird is if you go to the NBA like history books, it's like Celtics, Lakers, and then like the Sixers are like 3rd or 4th all time in like championships. It's like Bulls and then like Rockets, Sixers. And you're like, wait, what? This team's actually historically good by league standards? Because they just torment me.
I mean, none of it happened in my lifetime. That's I choose not to recognize that.
Yeah.
Dr. J seems awesome.
Yeah.
I wasn't there.
Moses would have been cool to watch.
That was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
I would be a much bigger basketball fan had I experienced any of that.
Yeah,
But
and then you get AI, one of the like the biggest cultural icons ever the league's ever had, and just like
sixth grade was great. That was a ton of fun. I'm 36 now. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I want to get to you know what? Actually, let's hit this next commercial break and then go from there. I have to tell you about BetParks Casino. That's right. I told you all about the app earlier, and the app is great. But what is more fun than actually heading to parks? And you know, on this Gargano show that I am filling in on today, this crew loves their music, and I'm excited to tell you who will be rocking the Excite Center at Parks Casino. It's my casino of choice, located in the Philly suburbs, so close to New Jersey where I live. It's less than 2 hours from New York, less than an hour from Delaware. It's easy to get to from all over. And if you want to check out one of these awesome Excite shows, well, I can't blame you, because there's a great lineup coming up. Saturday, September 6th, we have UB40 at the Excite Center.
Red, red wine.
I was gonna say one of the most famous songs ever.
We are just leaving it all on Andrew today to do the singing.
It's fine. We can do it.
Later on in September the 20th, it's the Australian Pink Floyd 50th anniversary show of Wish You Were Here.
So you think you can tell heavy from hell?
We've got the classic rockers Kansas coming on October 4th.
Carry on my wayward son.
This is what I might have to check out. Friday, October 24th. It's Everclear with their Sparkle and Fade 30th anniversary tour.
We can watch the world burn.
Swim out past the breakers and watch the world die. Come on, Andrew.
And watch the world die.
Yeah, that was a spot,
This is great without PG. October 25th, we have Almost Queen, a tribute to Queen.
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy?
And then Saturday, November 15th, it's Bill Murray and his Blood Brothers.
I don't know anything for that.
I was just going to say, if someone
It's just
asks
Bill
you-
Murray.
Yeah.
That's
Bill
all
Murray.
you need to know.
Yeah.
Someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes. Tickets for all of this can be found at parkscasino.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Well, it's summertime, and you know that moment when you don't have your sunglasses? It sucks. So what should you do? You should go to Shady Rays and get yourself one of the best deals in sunglasses. The one, that has one of the craziest replacement plans. Because look, as a father of young kids playing at the pool, playing at the beach, getting sunglasses ripped off my head, lost in the ocean, whatever it may be, there's a high propensity to break or get lost in the summertime. And when I found Shady Rays, it changed the game for me because these sunglasses are made for real life. They're good looking, polarized, and durable, and not stupidly expensive. And here's the wild part. If you lose or break them, even on day one, Shady Rays will send you a brand new pair. No guilt trip, just replacements. So now you can actually wear your sunglasses without fear on hikes, at concerts, on the boats, wherever. Shady Rays is eyewear that has your back. And we've teamed up with Shady Rays to bring you this exclusive offer. Head to shadyrays.com and use code PHLY for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
All right, I want to get to a couple of these nuggets, and this is the Golden Nugget Nugs of the day, Jamie. I'm going to start with the ESPN position rankings. Zach and I talked about the running backs yesterday, and no shock, Saquon number one.
Yes,
I was thinking, I was wondering
if they had
if they were going to do the
Hornets.
ESPN thing. and
Derrick
be like,
Henry,
Well,
number
actually, it's
one.
Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Well, Saquon, he's got the tush push on his side. It's taken away his touchdowns behind that O-line, who wouldn't be great. But no, they rightfully went, oh yeah, Saquon,
Good job,
number
ESPN.
one. Today they went to the defensive side of the ball and they did defensive tackles. And once again, I am pleasantly surprised to see they went Jalen Carter at number 3, and they said the only thing keeping him out of the top 2 spots, it's experience. That's
Yes.
it. He just needs a little bit more of a resume, and it's pretty awesome. As you were saying, like that top 100 is coming up. There are going to be so many freaking Eagles.
Yeah. And look, I know, like Zach and Bo like cringe a little bit when I bring up the dynasty word. But like, I really believe this is the first chance of our lifetime to have a legit dynasty shot, because there's so many good young players on this team. The Saquon window, the offensive line window, like you have Jalen Hurts, who just seems to play his best football on the biggest stages.
All he does is win.
Yeah, like everything is kind of set up. Like I don't see a situation where they struggle this year. You know what I mean? And like in the past, you're 3 Super Bowls in what, 4 years with 2 wins, or 5 years, and now you're right there again. You're probably the odds-on favorite to go back to another Super Bowl.
I don't see why you wouldn't be, unless you're trying to just go, well, it's hard to go twice. There's always that letdown.
Sure.
And I do think there was a strong effort made not to repeat the problems of the past and have a little bit of turnover and try to like keep the team a little bit hungry here, move on from some veterans, bring in some other guys. I don't see why it shouldn't work. Now the season has to play out, and who knows? But I'm looking forward to seeing how this
and
how
that
this
guy
one
you
goes.
just mentioned, Jalen Carter, he, look, Dexter Lawrence is a machine. We get why he's number 1. Number 2, they go Chris Jones. I mean, he's a beast. He's one of the best players in the league. But Jalen Carter, they say it's only experience keeping him out of those top 2 spots, and I expect him to get better.
Why wouldn't he?
Which is crazy to think, because he's a force.
We have, is it Charlie? Charlie is with
Oh,
us?
no.
The graphic
You sent me. Yeah.
All right, so this other little nugget I wanted to get to. We're going to have Charlie O'Connor around 10:30 to talk a little Flyers, because I'm going to force it on all you people. You are subject to me. It's like the wedding singer. I have the microphone and you don't.
You will listen to every last
But
word I have to say.
I got to hand it to our pals at DNVR, the Broncos show. They have been breaking down all of their matchups.
Oh, wow.
And they're playing the Eagles week 5. And I just wanted to take a quick look at how they broke this down. Because listen, they give the Eagles the edge at every spot except tight end on offense. And I'm willing to accept that. I suppose I can accept that.
Real quick, I have to.
Is this copium? Is this graphic copium?
It's when we get to the defense.
Yeah.
And honestly, listen, I know Sean
Evan
Payton's like
Ingram
going to the
of-
Hall of Fame.
I mean, I guess you go Evan Ingram, maybe
I guess.
slightly
No.
over
Over
Dallas
Goddard?
You know
No.
what? Sure. If you want to give yourself one edge on offense, whatever.
I don't know if you can, though.
I don't think you can.
I just can't
He
like.
had 365 yards last year. Maybe he was hurt, but like, come on.
But it's really where I just have to take issue with our pals. And listen, love DNVR. It's where this
He only
whole
played in
company
9
started.
games last
That's
year.
great. Very thankful for ALLCITY.
He did
and
have a
everything.
monster 2023 So if you
Sure.
want to go with the injured thing,
Listen, Dallas Goddard.
Awesome, dude.
I think they're pretty much split.
Dallas
Like,
Goddard misses time.
yeah, he
and
does.
Jalen just doesn't really throw over the middle all that much. So, okay, sure. The blocking, what he does in the tush push, I would factor that in. But it's not their job to know every aspect of our
Sure.
team. It's where we get to the defense.
Everyone.
The Broncos
Not one
defense-
check for the Eagles.
The Broncos defense, very strong. But when I see the defense that won the Super Bowl by shutting out Patrick Mahomes, because make no mistake about it, the game ended at 34-0, and then the ref said, oh, yeah, like, everything's fine.
It was 40-6 was the final score.
That's 6 to me. Even the first score, blatant, obvious hold on Brandon Graham, pulled his arm back as he's in pursuit and just tosses up a jump ball. 34-0 to me is the final score of that game.
Yes.
You give us nothing. You give us nothing on defense. I don't know. They shut out Mahomes in the Super Bowl. That probably means they're really freaking good, and yet nothing.
Yeah.
I find that absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, they're Patrick Surtain is a beast, but so is Quinyon Mitchell. So is Cooper DeJean. Pass rush, they have a good pass rush. We have Nolan Smith who's emerging, and Jalen Carter. We just talked about ESPN's list. We have one of the top 3 defensive tackles in the game.
Jalen Carter alone gives you the check.
Yes, he collapses
He
pockets.
gives you something on the D-line.
Coach.
Okay. All right. Listen, I can't believe I'm going to make this case.
Yeah.
Because if you had asked me, in October of last year, this
Yeah.
is ridiculous. But Nick Sirianni's never missed the playoffs. Nick Sirianni has already had more success than Sean Payton.
Yes.
Sean Payton had Drew Brees.
Yes.
And kind of stunk for a lot of his tenure, or they
Yes.
were mediocre. I don't know. All this stuff is, how many different positions do we have to be the coach is being carried, the quarterback is being carried. So for my entire life, the only things that mattered were the coach and quarterback. And for some reason, for the Philadelphia Eagles, these things don't matter. In fact, they're actually bad.
Yeah.
Sean Payton, I get it. The perception of Payton.
So he's fallen into the Sean McVay syndrome category.
The perception of him.
It's a good coach. Baseline is good, potential to be really
What's he
good.
done?
But the over sexification of this offense is fun to watch and it's spectacular and he's a boy genius. Sean McVay got elevated. Good coach. I'm not taking anything away from Sean McVay. Good coach. Yeah. A lot of teams would kill to have him. And I think Sean Payton is pretty much a good coach. But to say that Nick Sirianni, who has the best winning percentage in modern football, never missed the playoffs, should have won Coach of the Year his first year when we all thought it was going to be a dumpster fire season. And he overexceeded. He's been to 2 Super Bowls already in a short time frame. To say he's not right there behind Andy Reid as a top coach in this league is malpractice.
This guy is going to go to 4 NFC championship games in his first 6 years.
Yeah.
And everyone's going to be but Sean Payton, what has Sean Payton ever actually done?
Yeah.
I would actually like to know what the justification is, other than we know his name because he coached an historically bad franchise to somewhat relevance.
Yeah.
Because they guessed right on Drew Brees' shoulder still working.
Yeah.
And Miami went with Dante Culpepper.
Yeah.
Really, that's it. The decision of Miami took Culpepper and they went with Brees. That is Sean Payton's whole career. And okay, he won 1.
Mm-hmm.
So too has Nick Sirianni.
The most recent one.
Recently.
Yeah.
A couple months ago.
Yeah.
Not 10 years ago. That was the 2009 season.
I mean, Sean Payton's had a lot of losing seasons in the NFL.
A whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
Nick Sirianni's never had 1.
Yeah.
He's been to the playoffs every year. I get it. The perception of Payton is that he's a better coach. Sure. He's not, though.
Nick
If
Sirianni.
he was, he'd win a lot more.
Nick Sirianni has won 70% of his games.
Yes.
In 4 seasons.
He has,
Almost 71%.
Yeah. That's 10% better than Sean Payton.
71%
In
of his
17
games.
years.
That's wild. I do think Nick Sirianni is critically undervalued around the league, and Sean Payton is overvalued.
If you were to poll, this isn't, I'm not getting on DNVR for this. Because if you were to poll 100 random NFL fans,
I think Sean Payton
would win 98-2 because you came across 2 birds.
I think so, yeah.
Even Eagles fans are Nick Sirianni's fine. Big Dom's probably the one in charge. But at a certain point, doesn't the head coach have to get credit for never losing? They never lose.
But he had a bad Zoom press conference when he started here, Bill.
He says a couple of ridiculous things.
He made a dumb flower analogy.
He cried at the Super Bowl when the national anthem played. But
his players play hard for him.
Yeah.
He's never had to deal with players quitting on the team. Locker room issues seem to get handled. And a lot of this credit does go to the veteran leadership of the team. It's not all Sirianni, but like there's never been a question about like effort or the team really falling apart. They had one little down stretch where they lost like 4 or 5 under them, and that was pretty much it, and it got squashed and it got fixed.
Yeah, and it was the next, like, to overcome how that season ended 2 years ago.
Yeah. I thought I fired him.
To lose.
I did the post game show with Bo, and I was like, he's done. Bring in Belichick. Let's go.
And then to lose leaders like you did in Fletcher Cox and Jason Kelsey, and for the team to be better off for it, at a certain point, we have to give Sirianni the credit.
So
right?
his 70% win percentage is 5th highest in NFL history, and the 4 guys ahead of him are all Hall of Famers.
Yeah, it's all coaches whose names you revere. Like it's
Vince Lombardi. You heard of him?
It just listen,
John Madden. Have you ever heard of him?
No, I think he was pretty good, right? The video game mogul.
Yeah,
It's
hell
just,
of a video game.
I saw that yesterday, and I had to take a little shot at our colleagues over at DNVR because the defense that carried the Eagles to the Super Bowl and the coach who never loses get no recognition.
None.
Just found that a little interesting.
Yeah.
Speaking of someone who doesn't get nearly enough recognition, it is now joining us Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor. Chuck, I got to know. So you do yesterday's show. You then go home and write your Cam York extension article. You write a weighty tome on development camp, basically War and Peace. Have you slept at all, bud? It's 10:30. You're joining us today. Thank you. How much did you sleep?
I think I got to sleep last night around 1:30-ish.
That's not nearly
and then
as
I
bad
woke.
as usual.
Yeah, and then I woke up around 6:30, 7 a.m. So not much, but enough to function.
All right.
Are you a coffee guy, Charlie?
No, I don't drink any caffeine at all.
None.
None.
I drink enough for the both of us. That's really the show would explode if Charlie had any sort of caffeine consumption. Chuck, I want to get into Cam York. We got into it on yesterday's PHLY Flyers show, but it breaks in between me doing this. Really, right? It broke at like what 8:30 yesterday morning that Cam York would be staying around. He signed a 5-year contract extension for a little over $5 million per year. Just what was your take on the signing, and how did Danny Briere do in locking up one of his top defensemen?
Well, it's a good value contract. We're talking about you look at the contracts that were given out to defensemen this offseason in the new cap environment with the cap going up. Contracts to guys like Nick Hague, Alexander Romanov, Kevin Ball. The York contract is less from a cap standpoint, and in some cases from a year standpoint, than all of those deals. And York has averaged more time on ice than any of those guys, and more points per season than any of those guys over the last 2 years. So it strikes me as a legitimate bargain. Look, $5 million isn't chump change. He's getting paid solid money. But there's a world where this would have been a fair deal from a cap standpoint at 2 or 3 years. And to get that on 5 years, that's a good deal. And look, York isn't a perfect player. And I do think one of the reasons why he probably came in a little bit under expectations from a cap standpoint is because the league is shifting more towards big defensemen. York is smallish, and York is not a scoring smallish defenseman. Teams are willing to pay for guys who are small on the back end but can score. York's interesting because he's small, but he's actually more of a defense guy than a scorer, at least at this stage of his development. And I think teams around the league are just a little iffy on guys like that. You know, do I want a smallish guy who's only going to produce maybe at best 30 points over the course of a season? I think that led to his number being lower than expected. But I think he's a perfectly solid defenseman, and I think there's more upside there. So I think it's a good signing for the Flyers overall.
I was just going to ask you, Charlie, like we were talking earlier how Marsh, Stott, and Bohm kind of like are what they are at this point, right? Like they're fully baked pies. Where is Cam York in his development? Is there a next gear to him, or is he kind of what he is?
Well, he's 24 going on 25, so he's getting there. Defensemen, the general consensus, and this is backed up by stats, is that they develop a little bit later than forwards. Their peaks are a little bit later. Forwards tend to peak in their early 20s. Defensemen tend to peak in their mid-20s, even into their early late 20s. So that's what happened with Travis Sanheim. He didn't hit his ceiling until around 27 years old. So it's possible he could have more. I think probably the most intriguing aspect of like, can you get more out of Cam York is the fact that the last couple of years he's played under a coach, John Tortorella, who was not a fan of Cam York's, not even necessarily his playing style, but just his personality. He wanted
His
Cam
entire
York to be
existence.
he wanted Cam York to be the guy who was throwing stuff at the wall, like not metaphorically, literally throwing stuff at the wall and screaming and yelling and banging his head against the wall. And York is just that California cool, and I just think Torts didn't like that. I think he'll click much better with Rick Tocchet, and I think the hope is that Tocchet can pull more out of him than Torts did, given the fact that, Torts was fired in no small part because of a blow-up with Cam York.
Yeah, that's kind of my hope now, is that Rick Tocchet just gets 15% more out of Cam York. If he can just become some semblance of that guy I thought they were drafting in the first round, I'll be happy. But even as not a huge fan of York, I look at this contract and I'm like, yeah, well done, Danny. That's less than I expected. We talked about this a little yesterday too, Chuck, but it kind of just feels like the offseason could be done for Danny Briere. Now, we know that there's that gentleman's agreement in the NHL. Sometime in mid-July, everyone just goes, all right, see you in late August. We're all going to the cabin. But we say maybe they could make a trade or something. But if you had to think about it, do you think Danny's just kind of done for the summer, and this is the team that they have right now that we'll see, going into camp and on opening night?
I would put it above a 50% chance that they're done. I could see them poking around for maybe another forward for cheap, just because they did think they were going to get Shabanov. They didn't get him. Maybe they'll get another guy for insurance in case Tyson Forrester isn't available to start the season. There's concern about his elbow and his injury status. So I could see that. But they are pretty much not quite tapped out against the cap, because they could tap in a long-term injured reserve with Ryan Ellis. But if they keep him on normal IR and they keep him on their books, they're only about $1.5 million under the cap. So they don't have a ton of obvious flexibility. They filled their main roster holes, at least their stated roster holes. They got a goalie. They got 2 centers in Zegras and Christian Dvorak. They had a good draft. They got Porter Martone, who might have an off chance of making the team, depending on how the next few weeks go with his contract situation. So they've checked all their main boxes. Now, could they do something else? Sure. They have the flexibility to throw an offer sheet out there if they want to, because they could use the LTIR allowance if they want to. They could make a trade. They could make a player-for-player trade. And I'm sure Briere is still poking around, but I would say over 50% chance he's done. They don't need to do anything more, I guess is the best way to put it. And when a team doesn't need to do anything more often than not, they don't.
Charlie, over at the developmental camp, I'm looking at some of these shorts, and Van Sagi, am I saying that? I got that
Van
right?
Sagi.
He wrecked somebody.
It's so good.
Is he going to be the guy when he eventually gets here that Flyers fans that love the bully days are going to fall in love with? Is this the next big boom hitter to come to the Flyers?
From a forward standpoint, yeah. Another guy they took in this draft, Carter Amico, on defense, could be that guy. I think he's like the long-term Rasmus Ristolainen heir apparent on the right side. He's big, he's physical, he's mean. But Van Sagi is fun, man. He was one of my favorite prospects in the draft because of the way he plays. But I also think he has some untapped skill potential. This is a guy where I think his floor, somebody in our, I forget if it was our Discord or our comment section, but somebody made the point that it looks like his floor is something like what Garnet Hathaway is. And Garnet Hathaway is a fan favorite now. Now, the Flyers aren't the most popular team in the city, so not a lot of people know about Garnet Hathaway unless you're a Flyers fan. But if you are a diehard Flyers fan, you like Garnet Hathaway. He's a fun player. He mixes it up. He throws big hits. He can do some skill plays. He's a darn good fourth liner. That's your floor for Van Sagi. But if he could turn himself into a middle six power forward where he's scoring, 20, 25 goals a year and throwing the kind of hits like the one that we have up on our YouTube channel, that's a fan favorite. That is, and I said when I watched his tape going into the draft, I was like, look, I'm not saying he's going to get there because this guy ended up being a really, really good player. But there's a little bit of Wayne Simmons to Van Sagi, and that would be a really, really exciting proposition.
It absolutely would. But Charlie, I think he's still a little bit away. But there are a couple guys at that dev camp with a chance to make this team It feels like Alex Bump has a ton of momentum. Tell me about the
Bump
national
and a Brink on the same team.
Oh yeah, man. I'm
and a
calling-
bonk, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And we got a Barkey coming at some point.
What can you tell me about Alex Bump's chances to make this team?
Yeah, he was great at camp. He was the best player at camp, even more impressive, I would say, than Porter Martone, who was just taken 6 overall. Now, granted, Bump is years older, much more developed. He's already played in college hockey, so he's more accustomed to high levels of competition. But I know the organization loves him. He's a Western Michigan guy, so you know Jonesy as a Western Michigan grad absolutely loves Bump. But it's not just him. The whole organization loves this guy. I think he's making the team unless he has a bad camp, but I'm expecting him to have a very good camp. He's competitive. He's a little cocky. He's a shooter. He loves to shoot, has a plus shot. Best shooter at the camp, to be sure, at development camp at least. I think he is setting himself up to make this team. And I'm not saying he's going to be a star. I don't think he's going to be a star. But I could see him as a solid, middle 6 winger, maybe even as high as a second line winger if it hits. As a 5th round pick, he looks like a heck of a find.
Charlie, we were talking earlier about the Sixers, another cross-sport analogy here, and the most exciting thing about VJ Edgecombe Saturday night was you just look for those young guys to kind of look like they belong, that they look comfortable, that they look the part. What did you see from Porter Martone in developmental camp? Does he look the part? Forget like goals, assists, anything else. Does he look comfortable out there? Does he look like he has a real shot to make this team?
Yeah, I think he could make the team. I think physically he could handle it, and he does have a ton of talent. The thing that really popped to this camp for me with him was his passing. He is a fantastic passer, sees the ice incredibly well. He was pulling off passes that no one at this camp, maybe even no one on the team other than Matvei Mishkov could even dream of pulling off. So that was exciting. And his skating was, I think, even better than I expected. And I was never a guy who was like, man, he can't skate. But he can move, man. Especially for his size, he can move. He's got a good few first steps. His top end gear ain't bad. So physically, I think he's there. He was just trying plays, a lot of plays at development camp, a lot of high difficulty plays that he wasn't able to finish. You didn't see the scoring touch. You didn't see a lot of goals he was scoring. He just didn't have that same polish that Bump has. Now, could he play in the NHL next year and hold his own? Probably, because he's big, because he's not going to get hurt out there. Is he ready to excel at the NHL level? To me, he would have to have a much better regular camp than he did development camp to convince me of such. I want him to convince me. I'm not opposed to the idea of putting Porter Martone on the big club if he shows he's ready. But if he looks like the same guy at development camp, I think he would benefit maybe from spending a year in college, maybe going to Penn State and playing with Gavin McKenna. I've heard they're interested in him.
I was just going to ask you about that. Like, even me as a hockey as my fourth sport kind of guy, I was like, wait, Penn State got Gavin McKenna? That is a big deal. How big of a deal in the hockey universe is that, Charlie?
It's a big deal. People are definitely standing up and taking notice because Penn State is not a power, a traditional hockey power, on the level of Denver and Minnesota and Michigan, and even Michigan State for that matter is a hockey powerhouse. One thing I read this morning, and this should give you an idea of how they got it done, how they overcame the fact that they are not a hockey powerhouse. The report I read today was, in terms of NIL money,
Cha-ching.
Michigan State apparently offered about $300,000. Penn State offered $700,000. So yeah, that might convince you to take the new up-and-coming program over a more established, prestigious program.
Sabres fans just got to be sitting there like, what if we spent some of this money on our team and not just your alma mater? Just the thought.
The Bakulas own the Buffalo Sabres, but they really want Penn State to win. That's the team they care about more in the hockey.
Their rink is the Pagula Arena. All right, Charlie, we're going to talk about this on today's show a little bit. Yesterday, we went into dev camp with, Alex Bump and a lot of this year's draft picks and how they looked. But any under-the-radar guys or a little older guys that really stood out to you? Just give me a little preview of what we're going to talk about at noon today.
Yeah, I really liked what I saw from Cole Knuble, Mike Knuble's kid. He's really improved his skating over these last couple of years to the point where, I look at him now and I see an NHL player all day. Probably a bottom sixer, but an NHL player all day. And he's a center. Flyers certainly need those. And then Noah Powell, who had 2 of the biggest hits in camp. Vansagi probably had the single biggest, But number 2 and number 3 might have been Noah Powell, hitting Jack Nesbitt and Alex Bum, 2 of the best players at this camp. He blew them both up and showcased a really, really good shot. Was one of the best players in the 3-on-3 tournament on Saturday. Noah Powell didn't have a great draft plus 1 year. He was a 5th-round pick in 2024, but didn't quite work out for him at Ohio State. Went to the OHL to finish out his year. He's going to Arizona State this year. But let me put it this way. If he's the guy at Arizona State that showed up to development camp this past week, he's going to do quite well there. He looked like a very, very good prospect of this camp.
All right, last thing, Charlie. Sean Payton, Nick Sirianni. Who you got?
As a coach?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe 15 years ago, Sean Payton?
Yes.
But right now, Nick Sirianni.
That is the correct answer, Charlie. Thank you for joining us, and I'll see you in like half an hour.
All right. See you guys.
Take it easy, Chuck. As Charlie O'Connor, Phillies number 1
15
hockey
years
beat
ago,
writer.
Nick Sirianni was probably like
Playing in
maybe senior in high school.
He was in the Arena League or whatever.
Maybe what was the university he went to? The big D3 school.
Yeah.
Why am I blanking on
Mount
this?
Mount
Union.
Mount Union. Yeah, Mount Union.
Is that a real place?
It doesn't sound real.
That was Charlie O'Connor, Phillies number 1 hocky beat writer. We'll be on together at noon today if you want to hear a little more Flyers talk.
I got the Flyers. Look, I infamously called us Zamboners because we pop up when things get exciting. We love the Flyers. We love playoff hockey. But, like, if it's a Sixers or type of season last year, we check out.
Yeah, of course.
I do have a little bit. I got the juice heading into the Flyers.
I'm there with you.
Yeah, I'm going to watch way more
this
Flyers games this year than I have in the past 3 or 4 years.
Same here.
It feels like for the first time they're on the right track. They still have a ways to go. I mean, they were the 4th worst team in hockey last year. Like,
yeah.
It's going to be a little bit, but I do finally see a plan developing. Don't agree with everything, but I'm like, but I kind of get what it is now.
But they won't be bad enough to be in the McKenna sweepstakes, huh?
I would be surprised.
Is this kid that good? Is he generational type?
From everything I've heard, like, yeah, he was most players, like, in their draft year, that's when you win, like, CHL player. He was the best player in juniors last year, and it's like he wasn't even draft eligible. And a lot of guys don't go to college their draft year. It's like a year in prep or, just, they get drafted and then suddenly they're in college for a freshman year. The fact that he's going to go to the NCAA and probably be awesome, like at 18, that's pretty huge too. He's really freaking good.
But they will have this offseason or this season is all about kind of like seeing the guys take that next step, seeing Matt Vey, take another step. And then they're going to have money to spend, right?
They will.
Is there free agent hope in a year from now that we can make some big splashes here?
Right? McJesus.
Yeah, that is like most guys re-sign. We saw that happen this offseason where it was like, oh, man, this pretty good class. And then everyone basically ended up where they were. There were a few free agents who hit the market. But there is the possibility of next season it being a really good free agent class. And just what they can do this year is they brought in, another center to help all their wingers develop. They brought in a goalie so we can see, all right, what does this team look like when it's just not the worst goaltending you've ever seen? Are the defensemen better than they looked last year?
The latter.
Is this team, how good are these players and what exactly do we need? And then next offseason, whether it's free agents, offer sheets, trades, they can use that money to actually fix the problems. Now that, Tortorella's gone. The bad man is gone. So we don't have that excuse anymore. The goaltending has to be better because it couldn't possibly be worse. Okay, now what do we need? And they're able to then fix that and go from there.
Can we smoke ourselves to a point where we believe Connor McDavid is coming here? Or is that dream
we
pretty
have
much dead?
One of our regular commenters, JH. He has the countdown going until he becomes a free agent. And he was eligible to sign an extension with Edmonton on July 1st.
And did not.
And he did not. And I said, once July 1st comes and goes, I will allow myself to live in the world.
Do guys usually sign it the day they're eligible?
The day of or shortly after.
Okay, so
sometimes
a week after is a little abnormal?
Sometimes it takes a little longer, but it feels like Connor McDavid is playing a game of, I want to stay, but you have to give me a reason. You need to fix the goaltending because we're going into game 5 of the Stanley Cup and it's Cal Pickard, who the Flyers got off waivers a few years ago. Or Stu Skinner, who, he's like a decent backup. They just have so many holes that can be covered up by having McDavid and Draisaitl, but just a little bit more help. And they're better than Florida. And he just wants to see it before he signs. And I don't know if they got it for him yet. So
And we all know that McDavid is watching the Vragan highlights.
Yes, exactly.
And he's supposed to be here in like a year or two.
There was that plane ride home from Four Nations because Edmonton was going to be here the weekend after the tournament ended.
They did the old Bryce
The
Harper
Flyers-
hop on my flight.
The Flyers just gave him a quick ride. You're coming back to Philly, so why not get on our plane?
See, now
There's no tampering at 30,000 feet. There's no laws up there.
that's
Jones-
lawless international waters.
We all know Jonesy is like the most personable guy in the world.
There's nobody else I'd rather send out there than Jonesy.
Maybe he just planted the seed. Who's to say? Not to mention, as I keep pushing, free internet, cable, and cell service for life. Who else can offer free internet, cable, and cell for life? It's the Flyers.
Now, is he like a pure Canadian pervert, like wants to stay up above the border, or do you think he's open to coming south?
I think they all would prefer to just be left alone.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all hockey players.
But the beautiful thing about Philly is you can walk around and like be unnoticed.
And
I used to see Voracek in Old City all the time, just walking his little dog. Nobody would bother him. Like you can do that.
And
here.
I do think now that there's international hockey again, it's like, yeah, man, it's cool to play for a Canadian team. But I do still get, like, there's the Four Nations. They're going back to the Olympics. There's going to be a World Cup in a couple of years. You get to actually represent Canada again, and that kind of takes away, I think.
Okay.
Well, we could, if you're on the Canadian team that ends the cup drought, that's huge.
Yeah, sure.
But winning a gold medal for Canada, just as big. You still have that opportunity.
How long is the drought now? It's like 3 decades?
It was 93. I believe 93 was the last Canadian team to win a cup.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
It was the Canadiens, right?
it was it was the last Patrick Waugh Habs team that won.
I can't imagine Shea Paris that night. Sheesh.
It's crazy that none of them have done it in so long.
Pretty wild.
And then you see, like, oh wow, Gary Bettman, he's just handing it to all his little Sunbelt pet projects. Oh, we fixed the bonus structure so the rich teams can't just give you bonuses. The tax situation, we're not going to touch that. Not our problem.
Yeah,
not our problem.
The
tax-free teams keep winning, but doesn't seem to matter.
That is a little bit of an issue across all the sports.
It's just freaking annoying, is what it is.
Because it ends up being a lot of money.
It just keeps it. And like, these aren't the smartest guys in the world.
No.
It's you sit them down and go, well, you can sign for the same amount and you get more here. Oh, I want
Okay,
more.
I'm gonna go with
I
more.
want
And I
more.
get sunshine.
Yeah, and it's sunny.
Yeah.
Like, they just have all these benefits. It's very freaking annoying.
But has Connor McDavid been down to the shore? Like,
Yeah, Jersey Shore, man.
You
Come
know,
on.
there's a lot of good stuff
That's
happening.
what we
down
need.
there.
We need the Richards and Carter recruiting
Yeah,
trip.
yeah.
We need them to show up at the alumni and just take them out for a couple
One of these
nights.
guys needs a bay house with a dock to show them the way.
Like, just take them to the
Good
OD.
fishing.
Show them how fun it can
yeah,
be.
a little fishing trip
Yeah.
with the boys.
Yeah.
Have fun down there.
All right, so I just wanted to touch on a couple of dumb things before we
I
wrap
love
up
dumb
today.
things.
So I keep seeing people talking about this Superman movie.
Yeah,
And
man.
they're all excited about it.
Apparently, it's fantastic.
I've never met a fan of Superman.
Because they've sucked in our lifetime.
It's always sucked, and Superman sucks. If not for Jerry Seinfeld, Superman would be irrelevant. The only thing keeping Superman alive is all the Superman references in
now,
Seinfeld.
are you aware Superman is a local guy?
I don't care.
He is a
actor, yes.
Shipley guy.
Krypton.
And I watched CBS Sunday Morning, one of my favorite news programs. And they sat down with him at the Arden Theater. He still lives here. He's a huge Philly sports fan. And he still does plays at the Arden Theater.
Does anyone?
Does that give you any more
No.
intrigue at all?
I have.
He couldn't choose between Jason Kelsey and AI.
So here's the
He
thing.
said, I refuse.
Here's the thing about the new movie. All right, because I'm a nerd and I'll nerd out with you.
Gunn is the director.
So James Gunn, he did all of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and they were very successful for
Isn't he a
Marvel.
sex pest too or something?
That I have no idea.
Okay, we'll
I
look into
can't confirm that one.
Cannot confirm nerd not.
Yeah.
But
But
he's talented
all
at
the
making
early
movies.
reviews that I'm seeing that are coming out, so the movie comes out on July 11th.
It's like 3 days from now.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's the most comic booky version of Superman that's ever been made. So apparently people are loving it because they go real deep into the comic book stuff.
Okay.
So you're getting the sci-fi, you're getting the wacky, you're getting all the crazy stuff. It's not like they're trying to humanize or make Superman real. like they did in the other adaptations.
Okay.
This one is like, no, we're going right to the comic. We're going to do crazy stuff.
Can I shut my mind off for 2 hours and enjoy like some craptacular action?
I think so. From what I'm reading, I think so.
Then I'll give it a shot.
He's morally incorruptible and basically physically invincible. Where's the conflict? Someone's going to have some kryptonite,
Yeah.
and that's it. That is the only potential, and he will overcome it. I just don't understand the appeal of Superman, and I don't know if I've ever actually met a Superman fan.
Oh, Batman's way better.
Yes,
like if you're gonna go
he's a
DC,
human being.
if you're doing DC comics,
Yeah.
Batman is the
Batman's
best.
better. I agree with that. But like I don't know. Maybe it's because of Seinfeld and I grew up with
That's it.
Superman like
That's
being this
it.
cultural icon. I would like to see a good Superman movie to give it a chance.
I saw Bizarro Jerry. I watched yesterday, and I was like, "This is the reason, right here. This is the reason that there are Superman fans, and it has nothing to do with the actual material."
Yeah. I'm not gonna go to the theater to see it, but I will watch it at home.
And
Yeah,
I love
I would.
big dumb event films. Maybe I will. I just don't get why people are excited about something that has never been good.
I think that's why, right? Like, didn't you just kind of answer it? Like, it
That's-
can't be any worse. Like,
No, this thing. Well, they have to get chapter 8 right.
one of these has to be good.
I guess that's kind of.
And isn't it like the biggest budget? Like, they were saying something on some Sunday morning, Andrew, about like the budget of this film is like massive.
Oh, I'm sure. Every superhero movie that's come out, the
Yeah.
budget's like billions and
Guardians of the
trillions.
Galaxy ruled though. So
Oh,
if
they were great films.
Guardian, I like that. And
Yeah.
I don't love the superhero movies. I followed them for a while, and then I was like, I
I did the Marvel
don't
Universe.
have time for all of them.
Yeah, I did the Marvel Universe run when my wife and kids were away for like 3 days, like 2 summers ago. I did like
Up to Endgame is really
I
good.
did like 4 or 5 in
that's
a
when I
row,
stopped.
and like
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I think I'm maxed out here.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was enjoyable, but
I'm excited for the Doctor Doom Avengers to come out with Robert Downey Jr. and stuff.
I
And
didn't even know
the
about
new
that.
Fantastic Four looks good, so I think they're going to get back into that Marvel.
Okay.
But it's been slop ever since like Endgame.
Yeah.
I saw there's going to be like a Wolverine, Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man movie.
That's what they've been talking
And I was
about,
like,
yeah.
I'm in for that because it's something I watched 20 years ago, but kind of just seems that's what they all are now. Like, hey, here's some nostalgia for you, aging
Yeah.
millennials. Like, that's really
Yeah.
what it feels
That's
like.
all
at
it
this
really
point.
is.
Yes.
It's nostalgia grab and
It's like, can you take your kids to show this so we can bring on the next generation of
Which I'm all
superhero?
for. Like,
Yeah.
I can't wait for the next Ghostbusters. So I fall just into it, just differently. But
Yeah.
Superman just bothers me. I don't think anyone actually likes it. That's my problem.
Does anybody in the chat like Superman?
No, absolutely not. There can't be anyone who knows how to work YouTube that likes Superman.
it's a lot of
There's zero crossover.
We're
These
getting
are
a
two
lot of,
completely separate circles of a Venn diagram.
superhero fatigue,
Yes.
which is,
Yeah.
I totally agree with.
Peel and
This
Onion
is
says
way too
superhero
much.
genre stinks, overdone, way overdone. Tate Jeffries.
It's also been the only thing that's existed for 20 years now.
Like every
I'd rather
Sunday.
watch Sausage Party. I haven't watched that, and I think
Sausage
I owe it to
Party?
myself.
but I
With the Seth Rogen
That
animated
movie is ridiculous.
Is it?
Yeah.
one? All right.
I worked with a guy when I was on You Better You Bet. The other producer, it was me and him, and we were just like alone in the Philly Odyssey studio because the other guys did it remote from like New York and Connecticut. That's one of his like 5 favorite movies of all time.
Sausage
Sausage Party?
I mean, Seth Rogen, like everything he touches is gold. So
It is always excellent.
Yeah, I'll give it a run.
He made my favorite Christmas movie. I don't see why I couldn't.
What movie is that?
The Night Before.
Is that where they get real hammered?
3 friends go out for Christmas Eve every year. And,
Okay.
yeah, just get all messed up. And
I
yeah,
mean, I'm
that's-
in.
The studio was great.
The studio was awesome.
The ending of that show, by the way, or the first season, phenomenal.
I started it, and Ava wasn't crazy about
Oh,
it.
no?
So it's one of those, when you're doing Quizzo
on,
Wednesday
yeah,
night,
yeah.
I'm going to watch it. Yeah.
We just started the new Apple show Smoke. We watched the first 2 episodes of that.
I feel like there hasn't been the great show everyone is into. Like everyone I know has rewatched Sopranos in the last year. And I feel like it's just because there's always a great show on, but nothing that like everyone is watching like
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah, it's kind of people are all over. Apple TV's on a real heater right now.
That's like 9 people have Apple TV, and it's like, there's 6 shows. They're all excellent. Like
Their
that's-
baseball coverage, my hot take is phenomenal.
You can put on the local radio. The picture is beautiful.
Oh, the picture is
What's not to like?
fantastic. I love the analytical, like
Yeah.
in-game analysis. And
I do
stuff.
always laugh at like chance to reach base. I'm like, so is this just his on base? Is this just his on base percentage? Like
I guess they factor it in previous
The
at
count
bats.
and yeah,
yeah.
That's all right. But that's it. That is all the time we have for you on the Anthony Gargano Show today. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. If you haven't already, what are you doing? First, hit the like button.
Yes.
We don't get enough likes on this show, and it's absolutely ridiculous.
37?
That's unacceptable. That
Those
is
are rookie
2
numbers.
hours here that we just gave you of free content. Just hit a like button. And while you're at it, subscribe. Follow us right here on the YouTube page. Set the reminder bell so you never miss a live show. Follow all of our Twitter accounts. Follow the podcast. That's it for us. I am Bill Matz. That is Jamie Lynch. Until tomorrow, be excellent to each other.
We all silly like the mayor.